Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast. I am your host, Wesley, and of course, I am joined by my lovely co-host,
Mary.
And today we're talking about Survivor Redemption Island. We're going to talk about the whole season. We're going to do a breakdown. We're going to go episode by episode. We're going to answer your all's questions that you gave us on Patreon. We're doing it all. And Mary, we did a Nicaragua podcast. We're like, oh, wow, this is a huge drop off from Heroes versus Villains. At least that was my perception of it. We are now in the thick of the Dark Ages. This is it. I mean, this is what they set up in the reunion. And did it live up to the hype?
Well, no, because the hype was Russell versus Rob. And I don't even know if we even see Rob like look at Russell the whole season. It's like non-existent, their whole rivalry. So yeah. I guess they missed out. Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, what can you do when Russell gets voted off so early, I guess?
Production didn't set up anything, though, at any point for like any... They'll do this next season. They start off the next season much better. Well, try not to spoil future seasons in these podcasts if people are listening as they go. But next season, they're going to do the same twist, and they'll have two returnees as well. And in the very first challenge, those two returnees will face off. And it's like, yes, why did they just do... Why was that not thought of here? It's almost like in my mind, they planned the whole Redemption Island season and then decided last minute, what if we do Rob versus Russell on this one?
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Yeah, that's possible. Because wasn't it right at the end of Heroes versus Villains where they have like their whole little tiff at the reunion? Yeah. And
that reunion was, I don't know how many months before they filmed this, but I do know that in preseason press, Rob or Russell, or was one of the others, said that they were called probably a month before this filmed to ask if they want to be on, which means this was planned ahead of them being on it.
Right. So they were a last minute addition. And I mean, it was a fun idea. I like the idea of, let's have a Rob and Russell showdown. But you're right. They could have made a few other tweaks just so you can see them actually combating each other, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're back in Nicaragua again this season. And I commented on it last season, and I'll say it every time. This location, Nicaragua, during this time of the year is not at all interesting for me to look at. It's visually boring. It's so boring to look at. And I bet you it's beautiful at a different time of year or different part of the country. But this location, it's like, I get it. They shot back to back with 21. So it's like, okay, it makes sense why they're here again. Like they didn't know before they filmed 21, 22. But then they come back here for 29, 30. And I'm like, but why? But why? Why did they come back here? I will point out, I think I might forget this later. The camp where they all merge on is Exile Island from season 29. So that like huge rock thing, I was like, oh, that's Exile Island. Cause I just made a video about a player on season 29. So
yeah, the rock is interesting.
Yeah. That's like about it. And I know it's not the color. Last season, I may have said it was the color grading. I started paying more attention. I started looking at the colors of, their skin is like so orange for whatever reason. But I started looking at the colors of everything else. I'm like, no, that looks green. That looks red. I'm like, that looks right. It's just the location's visually boring.
Sure. I don't know. I tend to disagree with you a little bit there. I feel like it's more about the characters and the way the season plays out versus location. Like, I never care about the location.
Well, really. Of course. But do 4 seasons this location, all not being generally loved, that should say a lot. Every season here.
Sure. I mean,
it can't be the characters. It has to be the location.
Subconsciously, maybe there's something going on. I don't know.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying a little subconscious bias on my end. I'll say that. But no, I mean, nothing was going to save the season where Rob steamrolls everybody into oblivion, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Into being a good season. So let's do this thing. Let's start with episode 1. I will say that I appreciated that Jeff up front told everyone about the Redemption Island twist. It was not a secret. It was not something, oh, hey, by the way, at midway through the season, like they will do in a later season with a different kind of twist, where they go, oh, by the way, this twist, or like, let's say Pearl Islands, when they told everybody, oh, the Outcast twist. Yeah. What?
Yeah.
What Outcast twist? Yeah. He told them up front, this is how it is. Now, the only thing they had to guess was, when does this person come back into the game?
Right.
But frankly, I feel like they could have figured that on their own.
Yeah, that was kind of easy.
Sure, Rob had that figured out. He's like, oh, probably the merge. And probably somewhere near the finale, whenever the finale is supposed to take place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So final 6 or 5. I mean, that's about the extent of trying to guess. So I really appreciate that he did that. But yep, Rob and Russell are back, Mary. And what are the reactions of the tribes when they see these two players?
Well, there was definitely mixed, like excited and oh no. Mostly it seemed like oh no, but what we need to look excited because we're on TV, I feel like. But yeah, it was kind of interesting, especially the tribe that gets Russell. They were like, oh, yay,
Oh, no,
Russell.
yeah. I mean, Mike literally says, oh no, it's Russell.
Yeah, exactly.
But people see Rob, they're like, oh, yay, Rob.
People did cheer for Rob, yes. Yeah. But again, how much of that was like, oh, celebrity, stuff. And we're on TV, so we should be doing this. I don't know. Me personally, I'm like, would I want a returning player back on my tribe? Not really, because they've played before. Like, I'm more like an Emily with, I guess can't bring up current.
You bring up players future seasons. You just can't say, just don't spoil anything about.
I guess I had the Emily attitude against Bruce of, you've played the game before, you've had your chance, That's always my thought. If I'm playing, I enjoy watching returning players because they are more interesting, I think, to watch at times. But I mean, obviously Rob's tribe welcomed him and they were much more excited to have him versus Russell.
I have to say, in terms of the cast, a lot of people talk about how it's almost like they never saw Rob play in other seasons. And here's contextually, let's look at 2010, 2011, when they filmed this. Contextually, Rob just came off of, in 2004, All-Stars, where his wife won, that he proposed to. They had a love story, super famous. They go on to do 2 seasons of The Amazing Race where they're beloved, They have their own TV show. They get their wedding televised on CBS. I have a whole video covering their entire thing from when they met to Winners at War, a whole video about that. It's like well over 2 hours. Point being is that they're super popular, like they're beloved. And then he goes in Heroes versus Villains, and he's like the most heroic of the villains until he gets voted off by the evil Russell.
Yeah.
So what they know is that.
Yeah.
And whether they saw All-Stars or not, they could have because it was on DVD, but Marquesas, nobody here, in my opinion, either has seen or remembers Marquesas because that's Rob. I mean, a lot of All-Stars was Rob, but I think it gets overshadowed by the love story because Rob was ruthless in All-Stars.
Yeah.
But he was really ruthless on Marquesas. And if they had, but the thing is, Marquesas wasn't on DVD. There was no streaming service at the time showing you all the Survivor seasons. It wasn't a thing. So at this time, all you had was like the 4 seasons that they put on DVD, which was like 1, 2, 7, 8. So sorry, Borneo, Australian Outback, Pearl Islands, All-Stars, Vanuatu, and Palau. Those are the only ones that CBS had ever put on DVD before Amazon started doing. But Amazon didn't start doing any of those until around this time when it started. But they weren't like people. That was not a thing. There was no like Paramount Plus or CBS All Access or whatever. So these people only know basically Heroes versus Villains unless they watched All-Stars. And sure, even if they saw All-Stars, they're like, yeah, but Rob and Amber.
Yeah.
So I think it's a huge point because we know that Rob's ruthless. We've seen him in other things. We've also had the benefit of so much time as well. And they're just coming off the hot heels of Heroes versus Villains and Russell's evil, which fine.
Right.
And Rob's great.
Well, we're also kind of in the era where there's a lot more recruiting, I feel like. So it's definitely possible these people don't even really know him or have seen his seasons or parts or a bit, or may have heard who he is. Like that's more likely also. Because we're talking about how he just steamrolls the game. I mean, part of that is just Rob's personality. He is so good at making people feel like they're liked, that they're, appreciated by him, that he listens to them. So it doesn't really matter that he's controlling the game because they feel comfortable with him.
Yes, he makes everyone feel comfortable with him, which Russell does not do.
No.
Because he gets to his camp and Russell promises them, I'm playing a different game this time. I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to burn your socks. Fair enough. He's not going to burn their socks, but he's playing in what my opinion is a wrong, I don't know if this is the right phrase, wrongly distilled version of what he thinks his game is. Is that the right way? He's distilled his game down into this one thing, which is align with 2 pretty young girls and go to the end. But like, that's not really how it went either time before. The first time he went to the end, he went with 2 dudes and Natalie. That's not 2 pretty young girls. Yeah. And he needed all 3 of them. And then the second time he goes to the end is with Parvati and he gets to the end with Sandra because he burns Danielle along the way. Hate to break it to you, they're not just 2 pretty young girls who are naive that he dragged to the end. They're both very aware of what they were doing.
Right.
And in fact, they knew he was a goat. So where did this strategy come from?
I don't know. I think Russell is just a bit delusional. Like you're
What?
saying, like maybe he looked back with not even rose colored glasses, but like he has his own interpretation of what happened in his seasons and why he didn't win. And so he thinks he has a good strategy that's carried him through the game so far. And that's what he's going to do. I don't know. You're right. It was a little weird for him to just be like, well, that's what I did last time. And that's what I'm going to do this time. Except I'm going to act like I'm a better person now, which he really doesn't.
He does the same exact thing, by the way. And this is going to be spoilers for Australian Survivor. He does the same exact thing. He says the same thing. And he even on Australian Survivor, and I'm going to spoil this because it's only 2 episodes long and he's on it. And it's Australian Survivor. He's on for 2 episodes and he tries to do the whole I'm a better person thing. He hands Mary somebody a fake wedding ring and says, you hang on to this. And this is my guarantee to you that you won't go home.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, if it wasn't Russell, that might work.
Yeah.
But it's Russell, so nobody can take that too seriously.
Right. And
that's just like Russell in that season and this season's like the same Russell. It's like, what? Yeah. Why did you not learn from your last 2 times? But you said the cast is heavily recruited. They've been doing that as well since it's at least, I want to say season 13, Cook Islands, but season 14, I know for a fact, everybody except for one person was recruited. So they've been doing it for a while. It's just like, it's really become apparent, I guess, starting in the dark ages, starting with Nicaragua, because it's like, wow, some of these people look pretty, but they don't know what's going on.
Right. Yeah. So that, I guess that was my whole point, is that the cast didn't seem to really know who Rob was. They did seem to know who Russell was for the most part. So you're right. Like there's hype around these people. People know who they are.
And Russell had both of his most successful and villainous seasons just air. And Rob got screwed by stupid play and Russell. And that's all they've seen basically. And they've seen a lot of Russell though.
Yeah.
So I know Survivor always, by the way, provides seasons for them to watch before, even if it's not seasons that are on DVD. Like I'm sure they got at the time VHS tapes or whatever of the episodes from the seasons. But it's always seasons that they select, seasons that they want people to replicate. And I don't know if they showed any of Rob's stuff outside of Heroes versus Villains, which I'm sure is a season they showed because it was a beloved season. So
right.
I don't know, but you can definitely tell a lot of people here do not really know Rob's true nature in these games, especially by the time we get to the end and they're like, Rob, where I don't know who you are as a person. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like Rob is the same in Marquesas as he is today, as he is in like 2024 when we're recording this. It's just like, yeah, it's the same dude. And he's gotten older, he's gotten wiser, but like it's the same dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I guess we should go episode by episode. There's a lot of setup here on these returnees because we haven't had a season like this since Guatemala when they brought back Stephanie and Bobby John. Would you say Guatemala is better or this season's better? In your recollection of Guatemala,
in my recollection, I don't know. I like Boston Rob, and I think he did play a really great game. It was like perfect tribe for him to be on for his kind of game. So while it is a little bit boring to watch, I do enjoy watching Rob. Guatemala, like I don't really. There was nobody necessarily I was rooting for, I guess.
Judd, when he's like,
no, not
he
Judd.
Flips out.
I mean, kind of Stephanie.
Hope you'll get by freaking alligators or whatever he said.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen Guatemala. They're pretty equal in my opinion at this point.
Sure, Guatemala's not highly beloved, but it usually ranks higher in the season. So anyways, Francesca at the beginning openly calls Rob and Russell troublemakers out loud. And that's kind of what you said you would do.
Well, not out loud.
Oh, you're referencing season 45 when Emily's calling out a returnee.
No, I'm saying that those are my feelings. I wouldn't say it out loud.
Well, Francesca voiced those opinions. Both tribes are given a chest of tools from craftsmen. And I feel like, based on what I've seen of Rob in past seasons, that this was a request Rob put in if he's going to be on the season. Hey, I'm not going on there without tools to build a shelter.
Yeah.
Because here we are with Rob, who in All Stars, when he was given tools, made an amazing shelter, and he got to show off because this is his thing. Even today, he has like a show right now. I don't know how well this will age, but he has a show right now he's been doing for a few seasons where they like renovate homes and stuff. That's Rob. Rob really likes that. It's like he posts on Instagram, stuff like that. But also we see him on a future seasons because they will ask him back, even though he says the last time he's been playing. He will be on a future season where he'll be on an island and they give him a bunch of tools to build a massive shelter.
Yeah.
So I think this is one of Rob's requests was having, if I were to guess.
That makes sense.
Like it's not an unfair advantage to him because both tribes get it.
Both tribes get it.
Yeah. So it's more of like, we'll give both tribes this if that's like one of the requirements for being on the season. Because I'm sure him and Russell also got a little bonus for coming on, being returnees, basically being the promotional material for watching the season. Yeah. By the way, despite the fact that Rob and Russell basically never interact this whole season, in all the preseason press, there's a lot of like Russell talking trash. He's like, if Jeff gives me lip, I'm going to give Jeff lip. And Rob's like, I knew that little hobbit would be back. There's a lot of trash talk. And I'm like, where is all that in the season, people?
Yeah.
So anyways, let's see. So we go to Ometepe and they're like, oh, we love Rob, but we meet Phillip Sheppard. Mary, tell me your thought. The Phillip Sheppard is like the other main character this season.
Yes. Phillip is the other main character. I have a really hard time talking about Phillip. I find him, like, I feel so bad for him, honestly. I feel like people did misunderstand him a lot. The whole reason he was chosen was because they knew he would cause drama. But like, and not even in a great way. There's so many times that Jeff would poke at him basically and make fun of him
and know that what he was going to get out
and know what he was doing and know he would get a reaction. And he always did it like in this professional way where it could seem like he's not really, but you know what they're doing. They're making a spectacle of him. Yeah. And I feel bad for him that he was made a spectacle of. Like, I don't think honestly he was mentally stable.
Let's put it this way, Mary, and I don't want to spoil it, but for you or for anyone else who hasn't seen it, but I think after season 26, they start filtering harder. Because this kind of stuff comes to a breaking point.
Yeah, I mean,
the lackadaisical nature of letting people who you probably shouldn't just let on a show of this nature. Like Phillip, it would probably be great in another show, and I like him here. I think he's fun at times, but like, it was like hard to watch other times.
Yeah, it's like The Office. There's for me.
It was so much cringe,
and sometimes it's just not worth the cringe. And again, this is like a real person with real feelings and emotions. And I don't know.
He had no patience. So if people didn't agree with him or they didn't see his viewpoint, though, he had no patience to calmly like have a discussion. It was it seemed like from what we saw, he would just snap. And he got snapped more, it seemed like the further we got in the season.
Well, yeah.
The more frustrated he got with people. So I will say he immediately annoys everybody, telling everybody what to do. He was trying to be everyone's like dad or whatever. And they've been on beach for like an hour. And he's like, I debated telling them whether I was a former federal agent or not. But he tells them like, it's like they just got on the beach and he tells them, and then he mentions it over and over and over again the rest of the season. It's like, Phillip, were you really debating whether to tell them or not?
Yeah.
Because nobody ever like shows respect for this. So he keeps hammering it home like, I'm a former federal agent. Therefore, you should respect me. And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely never earned respect from anybody.
Whereas I feel like Mike, the Iraq war veteran who's on Zapatera, because Phillip's on the Ometepe tribe, probably got respect because he was also very respectful, you know.
Sure. Completely different. Yeah.
So it was like, as a bonus, they're probably more respectful because he was an Iraq war veteran. Whereas Phillip, it's like, that alone does not garner you respect.
Right.
Which Phillip never got. He never understood that this season.
It definitely takes actions to back up the words, for sure.
Well, anyways, so this whole first episode is a hot mess because Francesca and Christina on the Ometepe tribe were like, let's get out Boston Rob. And it's like, yes.
Yeah.
Someone here apparently knows how to play Survivor. That is the correct move. Christina even finds an idol. I mean, she's like a main character of this episode. Rob gets one confessional. I was shocked, by the way, when I looked at the numbers.
Right.
He gets one confessional this whole premiere. It's really the Francesca, Christina, and Phillip show this whole first episode. And it is a whole thing. And she tells Phillip, Christina's like, tells Phillip, like, hey, we can vote off Rob tonight. He's like, oh, how? We don't have the numbers. Tell me how we have the numbers. Christina's like, oh, let me show you. She shows him the idol. Phillip is like, I'm not promising to keep this to myself. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Phillip doesn't reach the end of this game, though. Rob doesn't stay here.
Oh, yeah. Rob definitely kept him in the game. I mean, maybe somebody else would have seen that strategy and done it, but I don't think nobody else in this cast was willing to take Phillip.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Nobody else in this cast.
Yes.
I don't think, maybe Russell, but I don't think even Russell, had he reached the merge and Phillip was still there, I don't think even Russell would have brought Phillip to the end. I'm not sure.
Russell would have gotten in a fight with him and been like, oh, he's gone. He's gone.
Exactly. They would have gotten in a tiff because that's Russell's very emotional, despite how logical he likes to appear. He's actually a very emotional player. It took me till Heroes vs. Villains to realize, holy crap, Russell just runs on emotion all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
That's why he cried when he got this season.
I get it, though. He's so invested, and this is probably a huge part of his personality. He claims that Survivor's the reason his marriage fell apart because he has a wife in Heroes vs. Villains, and sometime, I don't know when, I assume after this season, they get divorced. So that's why when he does the wedding ring thing in Australian Survivor, to him, he says, this means nothing to me because I'm not married anymore.
Yeah.
So, all right. But Zapatero doesn't like Russell because Russell, despite promising to all of them, hey, I'm on your side. I want to work with you. I want to win challenges. Then immediately goes off looking for an idol and making alliance with 2 girls and
still his charming self. Yeah. Yeah.
I think Russell, had he actually taken to heart what he said out loud, which he clearly didn't intend to, I think he could have blended in. I'm not saying it would have been smooth sailing, but I think if Russell actually gave it a legitimate effort, people are like, okay, Russell has changed. He really did see his past season, saw how much of a jerk he was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this guarantees anything, but I feel like them throwing a challenge to get him out probably doesn't happen.
Oh yeah.
Which changes this whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Russell is the reason Russell went out.
Yes.
I mean, everyone else is too. Zapatero is at fault for their own decisions, but Russell's the reason Russell went out again.
Yes.
Oh, brother. So we go to this first tribal because Rob's tribe loses immunity on a puzzle, and Phillip just blows up this tribal council. He says Francesca's name wrong. So, and I might even be saying it wrong because all I can think of is all the times Phillip says it wrong, and I'm like, which one is it again? She corrects him every time. It's Francesca, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Francesca.
I'm pretty sure, but if I'm wrong, I'm so sorry. It's like Phillip's wrong way of saying her name 1,000 times is burned in my brain. And then he's like, what do you say when she keeps correcting him?
Oh, like, I have a dry mouth and I'm getting surgery for it or something?
Treatment for it.
Yeah.
The rest of the season, though, he says things wrong all the time.
Well, which would back up that he has something wrong with his mouth. But I don't know if having a dry mouth causes you to mispronounce
We're not medical
things.
professionals.
We are not. Yes.
But Francesca gets voted off first here. And we've been tracking so far who's going to be on the next returnee season. The next full-fledged return. Well, I can't say full-fledged because we're going to have 2 returnees next season, but none of them are going to be from this season. We're going to have 3 returnees on season 25. None of them are from this one. So the next time we see anybody from this season is Caramo and Fans vs. Favorites 2. We're going to have Francesca, who from this season gets voted off first back. Now, Mary, from what you saw of Francesca here, are you looking forward to seeing her play again? Some people say she's the best first boot ever.
Yeah, because she was the one that actually wanted to get Rob out. She recognizes him as a threat. She was working with Christina to use the idol correctly to get him out. Like she was playing hard and she had a good personality. I would totally watch her again or be excited to see her again.
So far, we have Eric Reichen back from Micronesia. We have Corinne Kaplan. We have Brenda Lowe from Nicaragua. And then we have now Francesca, who are all going to be on that season. I will say, I don't want to get too deep into this. Francesca, she got voted off first here. That immediately is going to keep her threat level super low going into. So how far, just quick prediction, how far do you think she makes it next time? Without knowing anything else, obviously.
To the merge.
Okay. Yeah, very fair. Her threat level super low being voted off first.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, on Patreon, link in the description, you can pick what videos I make, including the story videos for this season and all future seasons. And we're even doing story videos for past seasons. You can also pick what videos I make outside of story videos, and you get all these podcasts early. This is being posted way earlier than you can hear anywhere else. We post these podcasts months and months early. So if you want to check us out, you could join the Patreon for free. Links in the description. So anyways, all right, we go to episode 2. Phillip completely changes his colors.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a peacock. Is that the right word? No, he's like a chameleon.
Is
that it? No. Anyways, he completely, because he's on board to vote off Rob, but I don't know when he decided to change that. But then he comes into this tribal, he comes to the next episode. This is a huge thing because he brings up at final tribal. He's like, Rob, you own my vote. He's like, Phillip just completely flipped. He was ready to get rid of Rob and he just changed.
Well, in the episode 1 at Tribal Council, he blew up Francesca and Christina's game by saying they want to vote out Rob. So I don't think he ever wanted to go with them in the first place.
He seemed on board with kicking out Rob for a little bit. And he even says that at the end of the season. I'm like, yeah, he was. But why did he change and when did he change?
Because Rob treated him like a real person and nobody else was.
Christina and Francesca were annoyed by him.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I mean, I really think that's what it was.
Yeah.
So early on, he's annoying everybody. Francesca and Christina are working with him, are treating him like a real person. You know, they're being somewhat kind until they have that whole tiff. They had the whole argument because Christina didn't want to tell him about the idol, and he was trying to, well, what are the numbers? What numbers do we have? And he gets mad. So they get mad back. And so there's this whole little fight that they have. And so sure, maybe Phillip at that point's like, okay, I see you have the idol. Let's go for it, because idols are powerful. But then he's going to start thinking about that, and he's going to start feeling the emotions of, well, they were making fun of me and they were laughing at me. Why should I go with them when Rob has never done anything like that? So I really feel like that's what it boiled down to. We don't see that in the show at all, but that's just my assumptions based on how we know Phillip acts the rest of the season.
And I know some people are like, you're only in episode 2 and you're 26 minutes into the podcast.
Oh, man.
Don't worry. The second half of the season breezes right past.
Sure.
I feel like these first 4 or 5 episodes are the best of the whole season. First 4, I think, in particular. So episode 2, we're still in episode 2. Ralph over on Zapatera. By the way, I think you made really good points about why Phillip flipped. I hadn't thought about it like that. Over on Zapatera, Ralph finds the idol in accident. He's just looking, collecting rocks. He's like, whoa, buddy, look, I found the idol. And it's like, Russell has been actively looking for this thing.
Yes.
And even when, to skip ahead a little bit, even when Russell gets the clue, because they win immunity this episode, he's still with the clue. If he went there, they didn't show it, doesn't go to the right spot where the idol was.
Yeah.
So it's not like Ralph finding it stopped Russell from finding it, because Russell, as we were shown, never went to the right spot. Because it wasn't like Russell looked in the right spot. I feel like they would have shown that.
Yeah.
If he'd gone to the right spot and just didn't find it. No, Russell never went to the right spot. So Ralph, the guy who, by the way, starts the season saying, we've never had, and excuse my language here, a dumb Ash, let's put it that way. He says, we never had dumb Ash win the show before. I could be the first. And he self-proclaimed, and he jumps on top of the logs and goes, you know, like does like his chicken call or whatever.
I do like Ralph.
A rooster call. I don't know what it's called. But anyways, so Ralph like is kind of a nut, but he's like a self-aware nut. So it's fun. And he's like, this is the guy that finds the idol.
Yeah.
And has a whole thing with Russell. And I actually really like their rivalry. It's a lot of fun. Just because Russell's finally getting one-upped. And it's by Ralph, the guy who called himself a dumb Ash.
Yeah.
I think it's the last time I'll say that, but put it out there. He called himself that. So, so we go back over to Ometepe, Andrea and Matt Elrod. By the way, you might know him. He's an actor now called Wyatt Nash. His stage name, I think that's what it's called. His actor name. He's in some stuff like, I think, Riverdale. Don't quote me on that one. Mary's looking it up right now. He's been in some stuff. He's still actively acting today, so. Anyways, Andrea Belke and Matt Elrod are flirting. Andrew's another person who will be asked back too for Caramelon. And Rob sees this. He's like, nope, me and Amber did that. It's not happening again. Not letting anybody connect. And Rob clarifies this over the seasons. Like, I don't care if it's a love interest. I don't care if you're connecting over books. I don't care if you're connecting with each other on a level beyond Survivor the game. It's a threat to me. It's a threat. And like, it's actually a really good point.
He's not wrong. Exactly. Yeah. Anytime you have people working together, it's a block. And also I think Rob is really good at knowing right away who he's going to be able to control and who he's not.
Oh yeah.
And not to say that he couldn't have controlled Matt, but it probably would have been more difficult. Definitely to control Andrea and Matt, I think.
I wonder, maybe he should have, in retrospect, Rob wins. It doesn't, no, obviously it works out. I wonder if what would have happened had he eliminated Andrea instead of Matt.
Yeah.
Like what would have happened with Matt? Because Matt never seemed to have the gall to do anything to Rob anyways.
Yeah.
Even when he comes back later, he doesn't have the gall to do anything to him.
True.
So I think either way, it was a win-win as long as he separated them.
Mm-hmm. And they weren't, you can't say they were like a massive threat at this point, but who else is Rob going to vote out? I mean, like he has no massive threats on his.
Well, he wants Christina out because she did show him the idol at Tribal.
Yes.
But he's got to think beyond Christina, I guess. Because Christina, massive character episode 1, almost completely disappears after that. It's like, what happened to Christina? I don't know. So Andrea and Matt are flirting. Rob sees this, but so they lose immunity again. Matt shakes the other tribe's hand, and I can't recall once in the entirety of Survivor where I've seen a tribe lose to another tribe and then anybody goes over and shakes their hand. I can't recall a single instance before this. So it's like, Matt's being a good guy, but it's like, Like Matt shouldn't have done that. It's not a precedent. No one's ever set this as a precedent to do.
He doesn't know that.
You're saying this is Matt's first season?
Possibly, but also at the same time, is he going to remember if somebody shook people's hands or not? Like, I don't think he's thinking, oh, nobody's ever gone on and shook hands before. I'm going to be the first one. I think he's genuinely just like, oh, I'm a good guy. I'm going to go shake hands. Yeah. He didn't think about it in gameplay at all.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think the same thing. Matt didn't think about that, but he should have.
I guess so.
Well, I wouldn't do that. I would never. I don't care if it's been a set of precedent. Unless we're all shaking each other's hands, I'm not doing it. Because that sets up like, oh, why are like you're getting friendly with their tribe? It's too early for that nonsense.
Sure.
So, anyways, I know Matt didn't have any intention here, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got that. Because Matt's just clearly a good guy this whole season who makes friends with everybody, doesn't make enemies. Even when he's most upset is still like super mild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
he's such a good guy.
Yeah. Matt's not an issue. So Russell gets the clue though. That's what I was saying. And then Ralph confronts him. He's like, hey, Russell, because Ralph is so on top of this. He sees Russell get the clue out of the basket, puts it in his back pocket, and he confronts him at the water well. And he's like, hey, Russell, you didn't by chance get a clue out of the basket. Russell's like, maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Like, what? Okay, just say yes at that point, Russell.
I don't know. This whole conversation to me was a little bit weird. Like, why did Ralph need to address it in the first place, I guess?
Because Russell thinks he's a big shot and Ralph, on him. I don't know what you call it. They're two alphas facing off, maybe.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's all. I feel like Ralph, wants to show Russell that he's not the big dude around camp and that, hey, we saw you take the idol, the clue to the idol, whatever. And it's kind of like a power move for Ralph. And Russell sees that. Sure. I don't know. To me, I'm just like, what's the point? He's going to lie about it anyways. He's not going to tell you the truth. And then for Russell to be like, well, maybe I do have it. Why? Just be like, either own up to it or lie about it, but don't be like ambiguous, I guess. I don't know.
Now, I want to remind everybody that last season, Heroes vs. Villains, last time Russell played, he'd said to Sandra, you're either with me or you're against me. And she said, I'm against you, Russell.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, Russell learned his lesson from that when Sandra beat him by telling Ralph here, you're either with me or you're against me.
Yeah.
Russell's learned nothing.
Nope.
Nothing. These are people you can want to work with. Russell didn't even play it cool. Like, you know what? You're right. I did pull it out. And I was hoping you guys didn't notice, but since you did, here you go. Nothing like that. Or, I do, anything.
Right.
And I'm saying that's good, but you got caught. The best thing to do, I think at this point, is just confess that you do have it. And the clue is so vague anyways.
Yes. Both of the first clues for these idols that we saw or that I remember were like extremely vague.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As like Rob said, it's like could be by water, could be in a tree, could be on the ground. Who knows?
Yeah. It's on the island somewhere.
Yes, basically. It's like the first clue. So like the clue Russell has isn't even valuable.
Right.
And that's why we don't think we ever see him find the right spot where it was actually located, the idol. So it's the whole conversation. No, it's not great on Ralph's part. I agree. Like it's not a smart move, but Ralph does have the numbers. And I think only because it works out in Ralph's favor is it funny.
Oh yeah.
And it's like Russell's getting, this is a Russell move and Ralph's doing it to him. And it's lovely. So Rob tells Phillip before they go to tribal, he's like, hey, I'll let you know who to vote for by putting my hand on their shoulder. And literally a chef saying at tribal, like, all right, it's time to vote. Rob gets Phillip's attention, puts his hand on Christina. And it's like, what a power move.
Yeah.
To be able to do that, like as they're going to vote. And Phillip does it. He votes for Christina. Matt gets voted off because that was a real target. He was just testing Phillip. But yeah, I mean, that's basically how their relationship works the rest of the game. Oh, and Natalie Tenorelli, who I don't think I'll bring up till late in the season at this rate. Like both her and Phillip, just like, and Grant, just like whatever Rob says.
Yes.
I guess Ashley too.
Well, so Natalie and Phillip both at least kind of acknowledge, or at least don't pretend like they are their own player and just do what Rob wants anyways. Grant's constantly like, I'm my own man. I make my own decisions. I do whatever I want.
Proceeds to do whatever Rob tells him to.
Yes, to do whatever Rob tells him.
Same with Ashley.
Yeah. Well, sure.
Because after season, she's like, I have no regrets. I played my own game. Like, no.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
No. And I definitely get kind of.
And Andrea too.
Well, oh yeah, Andrea too.
Andrea like pretends like she was some big shot. Like, Andrea, you were part of the problem the whole time.
Yes. I get why they became, I guess, fixated on Rob at the beginning, because he is a carpenter. He has played before several times. He does have knowledge about like how to build a shelter and all the practical stuff that you need to know. And he's a natural born leader, and people just gravitate towards that. But like, I still don't understand how they just didn't see how much of a threat he was.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think most of my frustrations with the Ometepe stems from their post-merge gameplay and less from their pre-merge. Like, I mostly get it.
Sure.
Like, they're all new, and he's a 4-time player, and he's Boston Rob. He's not just any player. He's somebody who's actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I get, it's just really post-merge. I'm like, what is Ometepe doing?
Yeah.
That's like, here, it's like, okay, fine, whatever. Go with what Rob says. But yeah. All right, so we go to episode 3, and for some reason, they do this next season too, if I recall. Only 2 people from each tribe can go witness the Redemption Island duel, because those who are voted off get to go to do a duel, and whoever wins the duel moves on, stays in the game, and gets a chance to get back in the game. What are your thoughts on this, Mary?
Yeah, I don't see the point of it. At the end of it, Jeff's always like, okay, you guys go back to your tribe and you can choose to tell them whatever you want. And it's like, what are we going to tell?
Like, what's the big secret?
Either A or B1. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, and sure, you could lie, but that's going to be very easily found. And again, why? That doesn't give you an advantage over anybody.
They lie to Russell. I think it was this episode.
Yeah.
And that's the only time. And even when Russell ends up going to Redemption, he's like, oh, I thought the other person could be here. And that was like the extent of.
Exactly.
And like, what does that affect at the end of the day?
It's not like where you go to Summit and you lie about whether you got an advantage or not. Like, this is totally like, was the sky blue or black today? Like, it doesn't matter. I don't know. It just seems so pointless.
The sky's black. We need to have some serious discussions.
Sorry. I was thinking of like just the most basic, like it doesn't affect the tribe at all.
Oh, I mean, I guess at nighttime.
At nighttime it's black. Yeah.
I was thinking during the day, I'm like, the sky's black. Something's really wrong. All right.
Yeah, it would have been way more interesting if both tribes had just gone and watched the duel.
And when they do this twist the third time and the last time, or blood versus water, they will have the whole tribe there. And that is why, in my opinion, that is the best version of it. Yeah. On top of the drama of blood versus water. But having the whole tribe there, it's like the opportunity is greater by having everybody there to witness.
Right.
The fact that Rob is not there to witness Russell getting eliminated is like, what is this?
What was the point of their whole big rivalry?
They never did anything with it. Rob never even acknowledges Russell this season with his mouth. I'm pretty sure, and I know for a fact he doesn't ever acknowledge Russell leaving the game. Like, no follow-up, no confessional of like, haha, sucks to be Russell.
Right.
You know, nothing. Yeah. Nothing. I'm like, what? So anyways, Matt beats Francesca. Bye-bye, Francesca. We'll see you in 4 or 5 seasons, however long. Russell, Stephanie, and Krista, they make a fake idol, but no one buys it, Mary.
Yeah, it's not.
It wasn't a bad idea, but everyone knows Ralph has the idol.
Yes, because their whole tribe, Ralph told the whole tribe except for Ralph and his 2 girls.
Yeah.
So.
But Russell and his 2 girls, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Russell and his 2 girls. Yeah. So everybody knew it was a fake anyways. They knew they were on the bottom. They knew they were just bluffing. Yeah. I mean, I guess you got to try something. But in my opinion, you should be trying to improve your social game.
Mary, I love you. All right. So she's my wife, by the way, because I didn't clarify that earlier. All right. Zapatera decides this is the time. Episode 3, we've won 2 immunities. We're going to throw this immunity challenge.
Yeah.
To get out Russell. And on its face, never throw, by the way.
Never,
you ever go on Survivor? Never. Don't ever throw an immunity. There's no reason to ever throw in the tribal phase to throw an immunity. I get post-merge. You're like, I don't want to look like a threat. Keep my threat. That's different. Talking about here in the tribal phase, do not throw immunities. And this is a great example of it because Zapatera inadvertently, this is the whole season, is throwing this challenge. I don't know if they were going to legitimately win this one or not, by the way. I have no idea. Maybe they would have, maybe they wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But they threw it on purpose. So blatantly obvious, too. Yes. The way David didn't even like at least move stuff around. He's just like looking at the puzzle.
Stood there and looked at the puzzle.
Like the slide puzzle. Like at least move stuff around and just be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least then it doesn't look so obvious.
Yeah.
But this loss ripples through the rest of the season because they go into the merge, aren't they? They're down a number. because Matt comes back in.
Yes.
They go down a number, and then the rest of the season they can never recover from that. In fact, no, I think they're down 2 numbers because even when Matt goes, they're still down 1. This is huge. Like, had they gone into the merge with another person, then Rob can't vote Matt off. He can't afford it because then they're evened up after that. I'm 99% sure that was the numbers going into the merge. Gotta look again. Season's a little tricky with the person coming back in the game.
No, I'm sure you're right.
So pre-merge, here we go. Zapatero loses 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Ometepe loses 3 pre-merge.
Yeah.
They lose Francesca, Christina, and Matt, but Matt comes back in. So reality is we go into the merge and Zapatero's lost 4 and Ometepe's lost 2.
Right.
Because Matt won't flip. Had they gone to the merge and not thrown this challenge, Matt's odd number. Matt doesn't get voted off at the merge. Or if he does, that's a, but that's the thing. Like, it changes so much. It just changes so much. I don't know.
Well, I think part of it, I do get the point of, even if we keep them and we're up in numbers, what they have no loyalty. Russell and his 2 girls didn't have any loyalty to them. They could have flipped. So.
And that was their logic.
Right. That was their logic. So I get that. But at the same time, you don't know what's going to happen. And just the fact that you could even bluff and say, hey, we've got 8 and you've got 6 or whatever the numbers are,
I think it was 7 and 5.
7 and 5, whatever it is. Like,
what it was.
In general, it is better to go in higher with higher numbers. Would it have blown their whole game if they kept Russell and he just caused chaos after the merge? Maybe. Is that a chance they were willing to take? They didn't. And that's what happened.
It was a huge risk, but it was a dumb risk. And here's this is all 2020 hindsight. You ready? They lost 4 people pre-merge, Mary. Had they not thrown that immunity, who knows how the rest of the pre-merge goes? Because maybe that kills Ometepe's momentum that they gain or whatever. But let's say that it goes exactly the same, minus them throwing this challenge goes the way they want, which is winning. So they don't vote off Russell here. Well, they lose immunity 2 episodes later. Russell goes then in episode 5 instead of episode 3. They still lose the next 2 immunities. Get Russell, Stephanie, and Krista off. The 3 people that they're worried about, they're still gone. It's all 2020 hindsight. They didn't know this when they made the
wouldn't
decision.
have no idea. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that I feel like the odds of you losing immune challenge are so high before the merge in a 2-tribe format that you might as well just ride it out and let Russell go when he gets to,
Well, and also, on the flip side, you're worried about Russell causing chaos after the merge if he makes it and flipping the other side. Nobody really likes Russell.
Russell's not flipping to Rob.
Russell is a huge threat.
He's not flipping to Rob.
And they should have kept him as a shield.
Russell's actually super loyal to his group.
Yes.
As long as you are not fighting with Russell.
Yes.
Basically. I mean, Russell did an admirable job with Foa going, like, it was a group effort between him, Natalie, Mick, and Jason, and Russell did a lot of it, and Natalie did some key parts as well. But like all 4 of them needed each other. It was like nobody could be separate from the other ones. And Russell stuck with them to the very end, took all 4 of them as far as he could. And then with this season, I feel like it'd been the same. He was not going to go to Rob's side.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It definitely was a very bad idea. I guess I was just trying to think of what their logic was.
And you bring Russell to the merge. He's a goat to bring to the end. Have you not watched Survivor before? Russell is on your tribe side if you guys just align with Russell. And I'm not advocating, by the way, to I'm saying that Russell's a big target and Rob wants to get him out. Like,
that's great.
Meat shield, There was like so many reasons this was a dumb risk to take in episode 3.
It was.
It was not thought out.
Yep.
It was just thought Russell's causing chaos at camp. Oh, think of how calm it'll be once he's gone. But like, that's short term.
Yeah.
Like, great. I'm glad you had that. Now, when you go to the merge, you have Rob causing chaos on a different level.
Right. Completely opposite of how Rob handled his tribe, where he kept the chaos around so that there was a target for people's frustration besides himself.
He wouldn't keep threats around, but he kept chaos around. Yes. Phillip. So Russell's vote off here in episode 3. Episode 4. Phillip's been wearing pink underwear. Phillip, former special agent Phillip, who has a lion and is it a bear tattoo on his arms?
Yeah, I think it's a lion and a bear.
This is what you mean when you said earlier, Jeff professionally pokes on Phillip because he's like, who what are you channeling today? He's like, the lion. Or I don't know if I even wrote the note for it, but at some point.
No, at one point Jeff says, which animal are you going to be today, Phillip? The lion or the bear? And Phillip says, I'm going to be both. I'm an animal.
I could be any man here. He's like, what about the women? He's like, that'll be another time.
Yeah.
It's really funny, but it's like, it is Jeff poking, knowing what he's getting.
Yeah.
And it's, Phillip's a grown adult, Mary. It's okay. Not like Jeff's picking on children here. Because later on, though, when Jeff's picking on Natalie, I'm like, she's almost a child.
Yeah, that's true.
She's 19. Like, Jeff's like, Natalie, still inexplicably on the first part of this puzzle. Natalie, being a good sport and still trying to participate in this challenge. Like, dang, Jeff, all right.
Yeah.
What did she do to you, dude? So anyways, everyone's over Phillip's pink underwear. It's gross.
It is.
As a woman, would you find it disgusting if you were there?
Yes.
See, I would think it's funny, but I also was not there.
Well, it's not just the color of the underwear. It's that it was like they were like too big for him.
Oh, were they?
And his junk and stuff was kept showing through. That was the main issue.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I didn't think about that.
They were ill-fitting.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think I'd want them tight-fitting though either.
No, you don't want them too tight either. But like usually guys on Survivor are not wearing this type of underwear. Yeah,
they're usually wearing shorts of some sort as
yes.
well. And he had shorts with him and he chose not to wear them.
No, he wouldn't wear shorts.
Because remember, later on in the season, they get hidden, but it's like, man, I didn't know Phillip had shorts, frankly. I know.
He wears them in the challenges.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. And you don't think about it while I'm watching the challenges.
Yeah.
Matt beats Russell at Redemption Island. Russell cries.
Mm-hmm.
And Ralph is so dumb here because he reveals he has the idol and inadvertently, like he thought he was still having his whole thing with Russell. He forgot other people were watching.
Yeah.
That's how I think about it. Like he doesn't
got
even realize
too invested.
Not that it matters, by the way, because even when he comes to the merge and he plays his idol, it makes no difference.
Yeah. But people knew about it.
Yeah.
You never want.
But Rob didn't even account. He didn't like say, let's split the votes. Nothing. I mean, that I recall. Maybe he did. It ends up not mattering. They found out about his idol.
Yeah, they definitely talk about it because they're like, who would Ralph play his idol for? I don't think he would play it for, and whoever they voted out.
We watched the first half of the season, and then I frankly had hard to remember a lot of the middle episodes. So forgive me, even though I have notes on them. So maybe they did. So yeah, Matt beats Russell. Russell cries, and he says, "I'm never gonna play Survivor again." And weirdly enough, Russell didn't even know how right he was when he said that.
Well, sorry, just go back to Ralph again. I feel like we didn't say Ralph revealed that he had his idol to
Phillip
at the Redemption Island so that the two people from the other tribe heard him. And
it was Phillip and Christina, if I recall. Because Christina's still somehow in this game. And they go back to camp and Phillip tries to blackmail Rob basically for this information.
Yes.
Which this is what I mean. Like, he's changing his colors again because I thought he was all in with Rob, and he's not here. He's not all in with Rob.
But he immediately caves as soon as Rob says, "No, I'm not doing that."
Yeah, that's true. What a terrible special agent.
Phillip says something big happened at the Redemption Island, and I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you the name of who has the idol at the other tribe if you keep Christina safe. And he goes, "No." Okay, it was Ralph.
Yeah.
Like. Okay.
Okay. Rob, though, plans a beach day. And he's like, let's go have a beach day. And he puts everyone basically in chairs down on the ocean and then goes and finds an idol. He finds up in the tree. And this is the idol that he hangs on to, doesn't even really need it. He plays at the end, but doesn't need it.
Right.
Throws a clue in the volcano because he already has it.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised. There was only 2 idols this season. This one and the one Ralph found. There's no idol at the merge. I was really surprised by that. And if there was, nobody found it.
Yeah.
Maybe their clue was it's somewhere on the island again. They're like, oh.
And
it was weird because Heroes vs. Villains, it was like an idol gets played, it gets rehidden. Samoa, an idol gets hidden, gets rehidden. I don't remember Nicaragua exactly, but I think they were on something there. If it gets played, it gets rehidden. So when Ralph played it, if it got rehidden, nobody found it, which is, I kind of buy with the Ometepe tribe, frankly.
Right.
But I was surprised Zapateri didn't just put 100% of their efforts into looking for that idol at the, post-merge that Ralph played, because that's the only thing that could save him from this nonsense. So anyways, Rob's tribe loses immunity again. They vote off Christina. We hardly knew ye. We go to the next episode. We're at Redemption Island. Matt eliminates Christina because Matt eliminates everybody.
Until the end.
Till the end. Yep. Andrea. Now we finally see her as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of over the girls being all shallow and slackers. And by them, we mean Ashley and Natalie, who are almost one in the same until the very end of the season. as a character.
Yeah.
Who was Ashley and who was Natalie?
We do see Natalie telling Rob everything.
She's a snitch.
And there was a time she snitched on Ashley too. So that was, I think, their only, differences in the first half of the show.
And the whole Zapatero tribe, immediately the moment Russell's gone, Ralph is almost like a non-character. He's like pushed to the side, and they put David and Sarita at the front, and it's whole like, who's going to be in charge of the tribe? And it's like, I don't care about who's going to be in charge between David and Sarita. I really don't. And so I didn't write any notes on it because Rob's tribe wins immunity and they vote off Krista. Okay, cool. But I do want to mention that Stephanie's the only remaining original Russell alliance there. And the whole time she's just like, you all are dumb for voting out Russell. Do you not know he knows the game? And it's like, like, what is she thinking?
You obviously don't know the game.
Yeah. Like, what are you like? And she's doing it episodes later. It's not just like one comment.
Like that night. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the next day. It's like continual. She never really tries to fit back in with the tribe. And David tries to save her.
Yeah, he did.
He tries.
For whatever reason.
Well, he saw her as more valuable in challenges than Sarita, even though Sarita's like, I don't know how tall she is, but she looks 6 feet tall. You think she'd be like more valuable in some of these challenges. But
well, she sat out a lot and just never really gave much of an effort.
They called her an uptown girl.
Yes.
I
but
guess.
Stephanie she was scrappy. Yeah.
Scrappy is the word I'd use for Stephanie. Mm-hmm. Yes. Krista, I was like, Krista got more confessionals of Redemption Island than she got in the actual season. She did. Yes, she got like 3, and I think 2 were on Redemption Island. That's how unbalanced the edit was. Though there is a secret scene I want to point out, and I did put it in the Redemption Island secrets video. I encourage y'all to watch any season that you find interesting. Check out their secrets video, because even some of the less interesting seasons is actually where I find the most interesting secrets. Point being is there's a secret scene in that video where Krista and Stephanie both pretend to be George Washington. And I thought it was kind of humorous. What? And Mary still gives me a look. I told her this twice, and both times she gave me a look of like, what are you talking about?
Okay. Sorry, I forgot that you told me this.
I know. Because you have never seen the scene. But it's a secret scene. It's in that video. And yeah, Krista like puts up her hair and she's like, oh, I'm George Washington. And it's like, I don't know. I'm like, why wasn't this put in the show? It's actually kind of like humorous. So any season that's really needing more humor. All right, so we go to episode 6 after Krista gets voted off. Everyone loves Matt on Redemption Island. I mean, everybody comes into Redemption Island, they're like, I love Matt. Matt's great. And it really says a lot about what would have happened if Matt had reached Final Tribal.
It's true.
I think he, like that, truly. Rob, I don't think had competition with Matt until he put him on Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
Because Matt, if he just goes to the end of the season being one of Rob's lackeys, is not competition.
Right.
But Matt, being on Redemption, becoming friends with everybody, being part of the anti-Rob force, becomes the #1 candidate to win. In fact, that's why he's, 4% off from winning fan favorite this season? Mm-hmm. He only loses to Rob 40 to 36 on the percentile. As I said, 40% for Rob, 36% for Matt. And I'm like, Matt, the unknown who came to this season, nobody knew he was. Everybody knows who Rob is. He's huge. He was super popular. Barely beats Matt by 4%. Matt, I think, wins this season if he reaches Final Tribal.
I think so too. I mean, there's no way he could ever reach Final Tribal, but
without winning, he would need to come back in the game. I think it went 2 or 3 immunities. I forgot how many.
Yes.
Because if he got back in the game, I think it was at Final 6. It was Final 5 or Final 6. Like he comes in, he's the 6th person, so then he has to win like 3 immunities.
Right.
That's quite a run you have to do to make it to the end, but it's possible, especially after winning all those duels. And a lot of these challenges, frankly, in my opinion, are kind of like duels because they're all happening on like one of like 3 spots on this Nicaragua island. I know it's the country's not an island. They keep calling it an island. But anyways, there's like 3 locations for challenges. Like there's that kind of like smallish spot where they do a lot of their smaller challenges. They have that one huge spot where they build the very first challenge where they have to push those massive blocks and they go up to the top, they build a puzzle. And then at the end of the season, it's used to do the maze. And then they have another location, Fabio's pee pool from Nicaragua, where the same pool from season 21 that Fabio peed in. They do a lot of challenges in that. There's like 3 spots for all challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like modern day Fiji, I see why they haven't gone back to like Nicaragua, because Fiji has like 8 spots for challenges. Here, there's like 3. That's why I'm surprised they come back here for 29:30. I'm like, what was so appealing about this location?
True. I mean, you make good points.
I just, this location.
I never think about any of that
well,
when I'm watching
it's part of the like, oh, why does this season feel so repetitive and boring? But like, why do all the Nicaragua seasons feel so repetitive and boring? in my opinion, this is part of it. And I know people like season 29. I'm not a huge fan of it, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so Stephanie's fighting with everyone on Zapatera. And would you be shocked when I told you that at the end of this episode, she's voted off over Sarita?
Oh, no.
What? No way. Yeah. But this is the episode where we get a lot of character development from, I feel like, some key people. So everyone has and Natalie and Ashley have another beach day because I guess the last one went so well. And Phillip gets on to them about slacking off because Phillip cannot let anybody not do things the way he wants them to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has to be done Phillip's way. Basically, even when they're like the opposing tribe, we're gonna see it time and time again with Zapatera later on, where it's like they don't do things the way he wants, so he snaps on them, even if what they're doing is not wrong.
Yep.
Like if Rob ain't getting on to them, Phillip, you gotta get off their back. Rob's not getting on to them because Rob knows that's a bad idea. I want them to be on my side. So, anyways, Andrea gets jealous when she goes to the Redemption Island duel and Matt beats Krista, and Krista gives Matt her Bible that she had as a personal item. And Andrea's like, what? Other girls like Matt besides me? Like Matt is Mary. I'm not a woman, so tell me, how attractive is Matt? 1 to 10, just based on what you saw on the show.
I mean, he's fairly attractive. Like a 7 or 8.
Only a 7 or 8. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gay, but Matt to me is like an attractive dude. Yeah. I could see why all the girls would be attracted to Matt. Personally, he's a nice guy. He's humble. You know, he looks pretty attractive. He's in shape. Well, I don't know. I feel like you'd be like, I see, but like Andrew's like shocked, like, oh, other girls like Matt?
I think it was more of Matt had a relationship with other girls besides me.
It wasn't even a relationship. He knew Krista for like a night.
I know.
And she was like, oh, because he hooked her in that quick and she gave him the Bible.
Yeah.
Basically. Was even like, I don't know. I feel like it was kind of like weird that she was like,
yeah.
Over a guy that didn't she help Blindside too? Yes. Twice, if I recall, by the end of the season.
Yes. Andrea isn't probably the best person to look at as far as good judgment.
Yeah, I was very confused here and later on because I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, so it just shows you though how quickly Matt gets people to like him.
True. Which
is my point of I think if he gets final tribal, he wins.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, Rob's tribe wins immunity. They do this reward that I think is actually a really cool spot. They're by the statue of Jesus and they're overlooking. I don't know where it is exactly. They're overlooking a town. I want to say San Juan del Sur since that's where his season takes place at, but I don't know if technically that's where they're at for the reward. But it's actually a really cool reward. I'm like, man, this is the kind of stuff I miss in modern day Survivor.
Yeah.
Like, why don't they ever do a reward in, somewhere else in Fiji? I don't know. Right. Not to spoil future seasons, but they are so, and this is the kind of stuff I miss. This
you don't like a helicopter ride to a sandbar?
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's the sanctuary.
You're right. It was in San Juan del Sur.
I figured because that's where they filmed the season. If there's anywhere that they went, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But anyways, they just reward that overlooks a town. Rob and Grant find a clue to the idol. And Philip's like, I see that. I see that. Don't hide it from me. I see it. They have to tell him about it. And that's all Phillip really wants, just to be included.
Mm-hmm.
Philip's not going to look for this idol.
No.
And also, it's included the idol that Rob already has. We know this. And Rob's just pulling a fast one on Grant.
Right.
And Rob says during the reunion that it's around episode 3 or 4 that Grant stops talking to him. And I'm like, what happened? I'm thinking back to episodes 3 and 4. I'm like, maybe Rob was calling them all dumb? Because I'm like, he didn't do anything to make Grant look foolish until I think at this point.
Right. Oh,
maybe Rob misremembered what episode it was. I don't know.
It could be both of those things. But constantly in his confessionals, he's like, this tribe that I'm with, they have no idea. Basically.
Bunch of morons, idiots.
Yeah.
Rob's been doing this. This is why I said they don't know Rob. Rob's been doing this in season 4.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he's like, I'm with the misfits. He says in season 4, I'm with a bunch of misfits. Season 8, he's like, oh, I'm on the misfit tribe again. As they go on to dominate all the challenges and dominate the season. Oh, what a bunch of misfits I'm with. And then Heroes versus Villains, he's like, I'm on the dumb tribe again. He does this every time. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
You could be a bunch of returnees who won Survivor before. You could be the Ometepe tribe. Doesn't matter. In Rob's mind, to us, the audience, he's going to call you a bunch of idiots. So to take offense to that means you really don't know Rob at all. I would actually be offended if I was on a season with Rob and I watched it back and Rob didn't call me an idiot along with everyone else on my tribe. So I would be like, wow, Rob's really softened up, or I screwed up for him not to call me an idiot. So anyways, he catches them, and this is the first time Phillip mentions Stealth R Us, which by the way, it's like a small thing this season, Mary. It is full force the next time Phillip plays.
Oh,
like
really?
he is all in on Stealth R Us. It is
I felt like it was all in on this one too.
No, it's all in next time. So this is just a taste of Stealth R Us, in my opinion, because he calls himself the specialist, which doesn't really help the legitimacy of like that question mark back next to his job title, in my opinion. When you're calling yourself specialist, it's like, oh, is he just imagining this?
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like, okay, maybe he was, but it's like, all right, now he's calling himself this. Like, I don't know. I just don't go around telling people I'm like the YouTuber, you know? Like, I just like, it's not something I would do. Like, usually you do that when you're imagining something you want to do, but you're not it. You can't be it.
Right.
Like if I told people, oh yeah, I'm a sick guitarist, but it's like on Guitar Hero. I don't know. Just trying to like get in the mind of why someone would call themselves this, but you were already a special agent. You don't have to pretend to also be one, right? I mean, that's what we're told by Jeff. I saw the shiny badge, Jeff said, Mary.
Yes, he saw a shiny badge.
Apparently.
I mean, I guess at least he's not a dragon slayer, but
hey, actually, it's a good point. I kind of feel like Phillip, they were going for the dragon slayer thing again.
Yes,
they were trying to cast somebody for that.
They were trying to cast another coach.
Yeah. The Survivor does this. They go through phases. And even today, and Jeff will say, by the way, in podcasts that he doesn't do this, but they say they're not looking to fill roles. But when I can find somebody who is like the same character archetype, like 5 seasons in a row, it's like, don't tell me you're not filling molds or filling archetypes. Like you definitely are.
Yeah.
Phillip, it definitely feels like a result of them trying to get another coach.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And it's made even more apparent when I think Mary, I don't know, I don't have this confirmed, but it's been heavily rumored, maybe it has been confirmed, that Phillip was asked back for the very next season to be on with the Dragon Slayer. And Phillip said no.
Good.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that kind of proves the point of they were just looking for another Dragon Slayer. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. We go to the next episode. Matt beats Stephanie. That's 5 wins in a row on Redemption.
Mm-hmm.
David on the Zapatera tribe has gone full, like, he's like a pompous know-it-all, telling everybody what to do. He's the smartest person here. I don't know. He's so annoying.
He was pretty annoying.
Doesn't remind me of anybody I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a know-it-all ever.
Mm-hmm. So thankfully, he was he wasn't like a main character at all.
He would have been, I think, had Zapatera won the fight come the post-merge.
Yeah. But no, it was kind of just minor.
No. So we go over to Ometepe and Mary, they're making rice, and Phillip wants some of the rice, but they're saving it for Rob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't understand why Rob would want the crispy rice. Everyone's like, oh yeah, we all like the crispy rice. Why do you want the crispy rice? I don't know.
Has more flavor to it, maybe? Different flavor than regular rice?
Different texture. Anyway, so all the girls have to save it for Rob because Rob's off doing a confessional or something. And so they're going to save it for Rob. But Philip's just like, I just want a little spoonful. And they're like, well, that's all for Rob. Well, I don't care. I just want a spoonful. He like throws a tantrum
whole fight
over rice. And he clearly has a leaf of rice. Like he is eating his portion. And he just didn't get what he wanted. So like a child, he like throws a tantrum.
Bruh, all season long, more times than we'll mention here. Rob's tribe wins immunity. They go on a reward to this active volcano. And I don't know if this is the same volcano they went to in Nicaragua, season 21, where they like sled down the thing. And then Chase says to Purple Kelly, oh, you don't really talk about it. She's like, I know, it's kind of funny, right? And it's like a whole thing because it's like Purple Kelly gets no screen time, as we talked about last time.
Could have been.
I don't know if it's the same volcano because they say it's an active volcano. And I'm like, well, how many other volcanoes can you go on for reward? So maybe it is. But they smartly, I'll give the cinematographers credit. And this is how you don't even notice is they don't film everything from the same angle. So it's almost the appearance of a different location, even if it's the same one. Because the Zapatera tribe is on what was the La Flor, the young person tribe from Nicaragua. But I didn't even realize it till like episode 6 or 7. Where it's like, wow, like either this location is just that visually dull, but it took me seeing the river that flooded during season 21 and seeing it again in like that episode. But like they did a really good job of hiding. You know, they can't do it anymore in modern day Survivor because they've done like 14 seasons in a row.
Yeah, it's all same place.
But here it's like, oh, this is the La Flor tribe Zapatera is on. And that means Rob's tribe is on the old people's tribe. I forgot what their tribe name was. From Nicaragua. Anyways, just that kind of stuff that like, you know, you just don't notice unless you're really paying attention. Anyways, so He throws that idol clue into the volcano. Iconic moment, Mary.
Yes. That was really cool.
It was. I wonder if Rob read the clue and then decided to do that, or if he just like legit just straight through it. What if it was to another idol?
No, he read it. Yeah,
I don't remember him reading it. I remember him just getting the clue and then doing confessional where he chucks it into the volcano.
I don't know. I assumed he read it, but yeah, I mean, it was funny because he has the idol, he doesn't need it, and he's standing next to a volcano. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like,
Rob is made for TV. Like, he knows what he's doing to get camera time. Yeah. So we go to tribal. Sarita's voted off over David. Oh no, who cares? All right. So we go to episode 8. Matt beats Sarita to re-enter the game. We have now reached the merge. This is a big episode, and from here on out, it will get more dull. But this is a big episode. Matt beats Sarita to re-enter the game. Finally, though, everyone's at this challenge to witness this happening because this is the merge.
Yes.
Now, something we didn't mention before, but I want to mention is that the Redemption Island challenges, if you'll notice as you watch this season, I don't know if they do it next season, but this season in particular, all the challenges are painted like gray, white, black. And Mary, I remember you doing a trivia question with me about this. They were going to do something with the buffs, right?
Right. They were supposed to have gray buffs for Redemption Island, but for whatever reason, they didn't use them.
Yeah, they actually made those, and I believe they sold them on CBS for the people who went to Redemption Island. And I wonder why they didn't, because all the challenges are painted like that and everything. Like, when did they decide to not do that?
Yeah, the first challenge, I'm like, why is everything so dull here in the challenge?
Because
like,
it's Nicaragua.
Why aren't there? I'm used to them like you're purple and you're blue, and you know it's bright. Not the place, but yeah, like usually whatever their stand or their ball or whatever is a bright color, and I'm just like, why are they all black and gray?
But they're wearing their Ometepe and Zapatera buffs, so it's kind of like, you're right. It's like it looks visually dull on accident.
Yeah. Right, so it would have made more sense if they had got a Redemption Island buff,
a gray buff,
yeah, a gray buff. Then, and it's not, and like I kind of like the idea because it's like you're not in the game, but you're not out of the game. Yeah. So no, I get it.
You're on maybe an edge of extinction, one might say,
or a ghost island.
Yeah, but
they should have just like gone all the way. So whatever the reason was that they didn't, maybe the buffs didn't get there in time. I don't know what it was, but they didn't have their gray buffs. So it didn't make as much sense when every single thing at the Redemption Island duel was also gray, or sometimes it was white or black, but yeah.
And there's no way I'm going to remember to put this into the YouTube video that you're watching for those who are watching this on YouTube. But yeah, go ahead and look that up. It's on the wiki, I believe, but you can just Google the Redemption Island gray buff. All right. So Matt comes back in the game and Ometepe is up 7-5. Now I understand that if Zapatera hadn't thrown the challenge, it should be here 6-6, Mary. That's why I'm saying that would have been huge. With Matt coming back in at 6-6, and it's like, you can't vote off Matt. Now it's a tight race, you know? Right. Now it's like, what happens?
Right.
Because even though Ralph misplays the idol, at worst, it should be a tie vote. It is not a tie vote.
It's not a tie vote.
It's not a tie vote because Matt, despite saying and telling Andrea, I have an idea. Let's flip on this tribe. And now,
well, I
ostensibly,
think Mike tried to recruit him first, and then he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Or Steve, somebody. Yeah.
But the point, Zapatera tries to recruit him. Yes, this is true. But it's like the idea was good, but I got to think beyond that. Would Matt have made it far with Zapatera, or would he have just been 7th place?
Sure.
Or 6th place, whatever, you know? Like, even if he had done it, it's like, yes, it's a great idea. Basically, the game plan from there on out has to be flip-flopping back and forth. And does that tarnish Matt's image in terms of reaching the end and getting votes?
Right.
I don't know. He's already in a tough spot as it is. I mean, he can't go worse, I guess, than being voted off again.
Right.
I don't know. Matt's in a rough spot here, and I kind of get
he is
the consideration for it, but also not doing it. And it's like, ugh.
Well, his biggest mistake, I think, was just going to Rob and saying, hey, they tried to get you out, and I considered going with them.
He's too honest.
Yeah, he was too honest about it.
He didn't have to tell him this.
He could have just gone with Rob and ignored Zapatera, or he could have even said, hey, Zapatera tried to get me, but don't worry, I'm with
I would
you guys.
Never flip. No, they're trying.
Even though you voted me out, I would never flip. Yeah.
Even though in his mind, he could be thinking, oh, I definitely will.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's kind of a hard spot here, but I can't ignore that they named this merge tribe Mary. And can you tell everyone the story of how this merge tribe came to be?
Well, they're sitting around talking about what the name should be. And Rob's like, oh, I've got somebody says, does anybody know a Spanish word, like any good Spanish words? And Rob's like, oh, I know one. It's Merlonio. And it means like a coming something a united force from the sea or something.
I don't remember his fake reason.
It was so like dumb. Like, what is a united force coming out of the sea? What is that? Like a fleet of ships? Anyways, so they're like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And then cut to Rob's confessional being like, yeah, that's just a nickname that Amber has for one of her stuffed animals.
The
or something.
leader of her stuffed animals.
Yes,
or something
and
like
it's
that.
like a private joke between him and Amber. And I'm just like, it just goes to show how much control Rob has over the game, where he just can lie about anything and people believe him. And it is funny.
I think it's funny, but also it's like it's so close at times to Mariano.
Yes.
They should just call the tribe Mariano at that point. Like day 30, it should have said Mariano day 39, frankly. We got to the last day. It's like how close it was to Mariano whenever I saw it. Yeah, Matt tells Andrea he wants Steve, Phil, and Rob to go in that order. So his original plan wasn't even to flip on Rob right away. It was actually to vote off of Zapatera.
Yeah.
And then get Philip and then get Rob. And in that fake scenario, because it doesn't happen, the numbers would have been evened up. I'm not sure why he would go for Philip though before Rob. Just knock out Rob. Just go for Steve and
Phil's
then Rob.
annoying, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Because, okay, they stay with Ometepe. So let's say he does this, right? Right now they're up over Ometepe 7-5. They vote off Steve. They're over Zapatera 7-4 if they do that. They flip to Zapatera. It is now 6-5. That does work. Though the plan is not bad. And then they get out Philip. I don't know how they got Philip for Rob. They got Philip. And it's like, yeah, then they could have run the table. I think Matt and Andrew are in a rough spot. They're like, how are they going to get past 6-5? Yeah. They'd have to flip again, I feel like. And what would the sheep of Ometepe do
without their
leader?
Oh, they just fall apart. Yeah.
Would they? Yeah. That's what I'm wondering. What would their gameplay have been? Because without Rob there telling them what to do, I really don't know. Obviously, Zapatera would have run the table, but it's like, would Andrea and Matt be able to reunite the Ometepes to do anything? I don't know, because they're such a mess. Like, they're not good. Yeah. The Grant is just a side character. He's Rob's sidekick. Natalie is Rob's snitch. Philip is Rob's crazy loyal specialist. And Ashley is kind of like Natalie until like the last 2 episodes all of a sudden. Yeah.
I mean,
Ashley's your best bet, I guess.
Who knows what could have happened? But yeah, they could have made something happen with Ashley or Grant, I feel like.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mike is talking about the Bible now with Matt. I gotta say, this season, unlike next season, is actually like people are being legitimately, like they're legitimately trying to be Christians. Right? That's the only way I put it. Because next season it's like a whole cult, and we kind of see this a little bit in other seasons where people talk about their faith to each other. But here it's like more prominent. I think it's because Matt's such a main character. Yeah. So it comes up more often, as we saw. But yeah, Mike's talking. Rob's like, nope, people are bonding. Can't have it. I don't care. Can't bond. And Rob's like, I go to church. Like, okay, Rob, I go to church. He's like, yeah, but no bonding. No, anybody bonding is gone. Yeah. And I don't care. And this is what we were saying earlier. If you bond over anything, you're out. Yep. And it's, I think Rob sees though, it's not bonding over. He says you could bond over romantic comedies. No, let's be real. Bonding over faith is much stronger than bonding over movies. Yes. So I get Rob's point. I know he's trying to play it off so it doesn't look like he's just targeting people who are bonding over faith, but like that's really what it was. The romance and faith is much stronger than liking a movie with some. Yes. Oh, I like Jurassic Park. Oh, I do too. Okay, cool. Yeah. It's not going to be. Yeah. So, anyways. Yeah. Matt talks to Rob about how he considered flipping Zapatera. We talked about this. We decided not to. Rob's like, nope. Matt's gone. And Rob, dead on correct with this move. And I wish in future seasons don't learn from this lesson. Future seasons will screw this up.
Players in future seasons.
Yes, players in future seasons will screw this up because Rob is dead on. You just get out that person who comes back in the game. Don't give them any room to breathe. Foot to their throat. Kill them. Get rid of them as soon as you can. Outcast twist in Pearl Islands. They gave them immunity when they came back in the game. And it was like, there's not a chance to put your foot to their throat. You gave them too much breathing room because the game forced them, which I think is garbage, by the way. I don't know if I said that when we podcast about Pearl Islands, but I'm saying it now. It's kind of garbage. I get why they did it, but it's garbage. Here, Matt had to fend for himself. He got killed. He's voted off 6-5-1. So it wasn't a split vote, but Matt was tricked because Matt was the one. Zapatera all votes united. Ometepe votes united, including Andrea, by the way, who will pretend to be the victim later. Yes. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
6-5-1. It wasn't 5-5-2 like Andrew voted with Matt. Could have been a tie vote. Would have been wild had that happened, by the way. But anyway, so we go to episode 9. Matt's like, I feel so dumb. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, or something like that. Yeah. And this is Matt like enters a kind of a depressive state from here. Like he was so hopeful in the first 7 or 8 episodes, but yeah. Zapatera is like, dang, Rob is cold-blooded for getting out Matt. And really it's David who says this. And he brings up a final tribal, so this is kind of like that. I think that's what did David in on like Rob's winning.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's not wrong. This is where we see that Rob is forcing like separate shelters where you sleep. There's separate times to eat. You keep your food separate. Everybody
eating time separate, not just food.
Eating time is separate, and nobody from Amatepe can be by themselves ever. They always have to be with somebody. Like Ashley says, I have to go to the bathroom, and Natalie has to go with her to the bathroom because you can't be by yourself.
Like they're in grade school,
right? Exactly, and they go along with this. That's what I just don't understand. It's like Rob doesn't trust you to be an adult and to say no to the other tribe.
Who's Rob's buddy?
Phillip, probably. I don't know.
The best buddy. Now it's not kind of the worst buddy to have because he would snitch. I feel like. I don't know. Grant's got to be his buddy. I'm betting.
Probably Grant was. I don't know.
Who's Phillip's buddy?
I don't know.
And it can't be Andrew because we got 3 girls and we got Phillip, Grant, and Rob. Who's the buddies? That's all I'm on. That's why.
It was probably, I would imagine, Rob and Grant.
Yeah.
Natalie and Ashley, and then Phillip and Andrew. Because we see Phillip and Andrea communicate at times, and they seem to at least be congenial. Phillip liked Andrea because she actually worked around camp, and I think Phillip bothered Andrea, but she would just go along.
Andrea was able to put up with it. Andrea has some good qualities, but some of her like late game stuff where she's like Andrea, you were equally as part of this. You were equally part of this nonsense. So anyways, this is, by the way, I don't know if this was an editing decision or a decision made on the island, but this episode has a double tribal. It's like the 2 episodes in one. And normally they do this an episode or 2 later if they're going to do this. Here's versus Villains. I think it was episode 11, but no, here it's just like we already know this is going to be boring to watch. So we need to speed up this pagonging.
Yes.
Because we get 5 vote offs in 3 episodes. We get all of the Zapatera gone in 3 episodes. As fast as they can get them out of here, they do. Because Grant wins immunity, Phillip's wearing a feather now, and Mike gets voted off from Zapatera. So it's like clear as day what's happening. Mike, by the way, goes to Redemption Island. And I'm not going to talk about every single Redemption Island now because it becomes
too much.
Kind of pointless, until we get to the end. But Mike kind of like gets first place almost every time Redemption, while Matt gets second.
Yes.
That's basically it. Rob then tells Phillip he's at the top with him. He promised he's going to the end because Rob's all in on this goat strategy.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to go through everything because it's so boring. We're going to go through it. All right.
I mean, we don't have to.
No,
they keep winning. Somebody from Amatepe keeps winning.
There are some key moments here. Like Ralph catches a fish and he's like, do you all want to eat it? And Rob says, don't eat that fish, you guys. It's dead.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Don't eat any dead fish. It was caught in like their nets or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you don't know how long it's laid out in the sun dead. And
like, okay.
At this point, what's it? You're going to roast it in fire.
Yeah.
You're going to kill bacteria.
Yeah. You're not eating it raw. It's not sushi.
Yeah. So I don't know, but he basically just wanted to control what his tribe ate.
Listen to him,
and they did. I know, except Grant like snuck over there and took a bite or 2. But then you literally hear Rob say, "Grant, come over here," and he turns around and leaves. And like, cut to a confessional of Grant and be like, "I do whatever I want. I eat whatever. I'm my own man. I ate some of the fish. I don't do what Rob tells me to do." And it's like, no, dude, you definitely went right back to him as soon as he called your name. So. Yeah, it was kind of crazy stuff like that Rob does. It's like, okay, that's a little bit like Julie says you're all having a cult. This is Rob's cult. And you kind of agree with her. Like they just kind of worshipped him and did every tiny thing that he said.
I didn't write down every time, but Zapatera had some sick burns this whole post-merge, including when Andrea comes to Redemption Island and they're like, I forgot what Ralph says, but he says something really good. Let me double check my notes. What did Ralph say to her? I wish I made. Yeah, no, but he has Andrea sleep on the ground when she gets to Redemption Island, but I forgot what he said. It was really funny, just the way they burn these Zapatera or these Ometepes as they get voted off.
I don't
You're in a
remember.
cult. You just do
Yeah.
whatever Rob says. You're just his
Mhm.
lackey,
Yeah.
basically.
Yep. It's true.
All right. Well, we go to episode 10 and Matt. What's going on with Matt here, Mary?
Well, he's at his lowest low. He really wants to quit. Almost. He's like ready to be done. He spent how many days on Redemption? I mean, he spent most of the game on Redemption Island.
I think he spent 6 days not on Redemption. Well, maybe.
Or 7 days in the game out of the.
Yeah, he said something like that when he went to
Yeah.
the final challenge. It was something like 7 days we spent in the proper game.
Yeah.
Out
So,
of 30, I want to say 35, 36.
and most of that time, he's alone waiting for somebody to join him. So I'm sure it was really hard. I mean, after the merge, obviously Mike's there for the rest of the time, but
yeah, he's got like 2 partners in crime with him most of the rest of the game. Like, it's weird.
For
He
the
went from
rest of the
duels to straight up like a mini, I would say like a mini Edge of Extinction or something like that.
yeah. He's just having a rough time and he's not coping well, but you can't really blame him because I would have been like that like day 2 or something. Yeah.
I got voted off the second time. It'd been immediate.
Yeah.
It'd been immediate. If I did what Matt did, I feel so dumb. So there's a whole thing here because Zapatera is overeating. This is a huge problem for Ometepe, despite the fact, as you said, Phillip separates the rice. Phillip goes along and separates the rice of his own volition. Zapatera didn't ask him to. He decided to do it. He separates. Mary's, you're shaking your head no.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Phillip takes the Ometepe's portion of rice and separates it because Zapatera's overeating.
I don't remember this.
All right. Well, this happened.
All right.
Trust me. I have
trust
notes
you.
on it
Yeah.
and everything. Episode 10, Mary. This is Rice Wars.
Yes. I
This
remember
is that
this.
episode. So Phillip sees Zapatera's overeating the rice. He decides we're going to take our portion out of there. And that's how they get.
Oh, I thought it was separated the whole time.
Maybe it was. I thought
it was just separated the whole time.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because Ometepe had their own tub of rice. Zapatera had their own jar of rice.
Oh.
And Redemption Island had their own jar of rice.
I know Redemption Island.
So even after they merged, though, they kept them separated. You eat your rice, we'll eat our rice.
Well, why does he care that Zapatera's overeating it then? That's what I'm trying to say. I thought they were all one rice supply.
They're just jealous because Zapatera can eat as much as they want because they have their own rice can. And they're like, look at them over there just eating their rice and like rubbing it in our faces that they can have so much rice. But I'm sure it was Rob who came up with this, oh no, we'll keep the rice separate. Y'all eat yours and we'll eat ours.
Oh, definitely.
From the beginning.
Well, okay. For some reason, I thought it happened this episode. My apologies if that's not
But this
the case.
episode is where Ometepe's rice gets maggots. Yes. And so then
I thought that's because they separated it.
It was already separated.
Okay.
No. That's why I was looking at you like, what are you talking about?
All right, that's fine. I'm not perfect. So yeah, Andrew's like, oh, can we share the container? And I'm like, oh, the flippin' irony to ask Zapatera for any help.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here. They have to sleep on a lower shelter. Can't even eat together. Get out of here with this. Can we share the rice container? And of course, Andrew's probably the best one to ask this because it's not Rob and it's not Phillip.
Yeah.
But when she gets told no, Phillip flips out. And it becomes a whole thing. And we can basically sum it up as Phillip is angry. Steve calls him crazy. Phillip takes it the wrong way. I can't speak to Steve's true intentions, but nothing appeared to be racial like Phillip said.
Yeah.
I think Phillip has past trauma, as he mentioned, literally he's talking about his dad and what happened to him in the past. And I think this resurfaced that maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
That's all I could think of.
Yeah. Because logically, yeah, why wouldn't you not, I guess, let them share the rice so that the rice wouldn't go bad? But at the same time, I totally get why they said
to separate.
No, yeah, because from the beginning they've chosen to keep the food separate. So
it'd be one thing if they were all together and then Zapatera in this episode's like, no, we need now we need to keep our rice separate. Like Zapatera said that. Sure. But like this was a decision you all made and now you're getting the consequences of it.
Yes.
And like he's so mad about it. Just explodes. There's a whole fight. It gets really big. Rob wins. I think this is his first immunity of the season because he ends up winning 4 by the end, which makes him a challenge beast. Not that he wasn't already, but to get 4 immunity wins makes you challenge beast. Fabio did it last season. Rob's doing it here. Yeah. Julie buries Phillip's shorts.
Because she's mad.
Because she wants to.
Yeah.
I'm whatever. I'm for it.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's funny because they go to tribal and yes, there's a whole discussion. Jeff's like, wow, if this was therapy, we had a really good session. Like Jeff is all on top of his snarky game, but also on top of being a good host.
Well, I feel like, yeah, this was an instance where he realized there's a lot going on and he helped them work through it, because
Yeah.
sometimes you do just need that third party to help you talk it out.
Sure.
So this was good. It seemed like
Jeff was on top of his game, is what I'm saying.
yes. Jeff helped them to figure it all out and at least get back to a working relationship.
I mean, this is the same Jeff last season who said, somebody's like, what happens to the losers? And Jeff's like, we take them and we execute them.
Yes.
Like, Jeff's the top of his game. It's like the seasons may not be very good, but Jeff
this is prime Jeff.
This is prime Jeff.
Yeah.
This is Jeff. This is prime Jeff. I'm like, can we de-age current day Jeff by like 13 years to this? This is prime snarky Jeff. Yeah. So Julie gets voted off. But I have some questions here, because next episode, Phil finds the shorts and I'm like, did he get some help? How did he find these shorts? He says it took him flipping 2 rocks. I'm like, who even directed him that? Julie didn't say nothing.
Yeah, Julie said I went and hid them in the forest under a rock and you'll never find them.
Okay.
And to be fair, it was like right off the path and it was a big rock. So
yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt if somebody from production was like nodding
and
or something.
This is the only time where I feel like it's appropriate, because it's not any advantage in the game.
Yeah.
It's your shorts.
It's your shorts. And nobody wanted to see Phillip walking around in his pink underwear.
I'm sure they didn't want to censor that all season either.
Yes.
So. Yeah. This is the only time I was like, it's a little suspicious, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
So Rob says, as long as Phil's acting dumb, he's safe in my book. But Rob has this figured out. He's like, here's my goat.
Yes.
He hasn't. I think he's locked in Natalie as his other goat at this point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But he's definitely locked in Phillip. Phillip, he says it over and over again. Because he needs to, I think the audience, we as the general audience need to be like, why is he keeping Phillip?
Right.
Whereas we get why he's keeping everybody else.
Yes.
But why Phillip? It's like, because I'm going to beat him at the end.
Yes.
That's why.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah. Julie gets eliminated by Matt and Mike at Redemption.
Mm-hmm.
Grant wins immunity and cake, which he shares with Rob and Andrea, which, by the way, I feel like this goes right in and out. You eat this in and out of your body.
Yeah, not the best reward to win. I know everybody's excited by it, but it's not like a good peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah. Steve tries getting Natalie and Ashley to flip. They immediately snitch to Rob. So
yep.
We go tribal, and that's what I mean. Like, they just like rush through this.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph gets voted off. They do another immunity challenge right then and there. Rob wins that one. Steve's voted off. All right, cool.
Yep.
So now we're down just Ometepe, episode 12.
Finally.
I know. This post-merge game is just like frustration with Ometepe. The most interesting stuff, in my opinion, was pre-merge. And the last couple episodes when, we'll see. So anyway, sprint phone with messages from home. Steve's eliminated at this Redemption Island challenge. But you and I both said as we're watching it, is Steve throwing this?
Yeah, it didn't look like he was giving any effort at all. We've heard him say several times in the game that he's just kind of done. Like, why would you want to go back in the game when you know you're just going to get voted off again? First thing.
And the reason we say this, if you all go watch it, it's Mike, Matt, and Steve. They're competing and they're going one at a time to throw underhand balls at tiles. The thing Coach said that he had done before during Survivor Tokens, where Brendan's like, nobody's ever done this before. And Coach is like, I have. Like, all right, get out of here, Coach. So anyways, everyone here is doing it, I assume for the first time. And while Mike and Matt are actually throwing it towards the tiles that need to be broken, Steve breaks the first one. And then every subsequent throw from him is where the first tile was. Yeah. Like exactly where it was. It didn't look like he tried putting any more power into it. Yeah. It's kind of like he was handing it to Mike and Matt. Mm-hmm. And I'm not blaming him, by the way, if he does it.
I'm not either.
No. I'm just saying, I wonder if he threw it. It's not confirmed in the show, but I wonder if he did. So anyways, but because Mike wins this challenge, Mary, he is given an option. Either Mike can get love. He can give love to Matt and Ralph because they're both there. Sorry, Ralph also wins this challenge. It's Mike, Matt, Ralph, and Steve. It's a whole group of people on Redemption. He can give love to Matt and Ralph, or he can give it to everyone left in the game. What happens here?
Or himself, or just himself. I said that was the third one. Oh, sorry. I mean, he picks everyone left in the game. And you can say, and Ralph can say that it was strategic all you want. I really don't think it was strategic. I think Mike's just being a good guy, and he was giving...
Oh, no, I don't think it was strategic at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I think what Mike's sentiment was, I think Mike was true with the sentiment of why he did it. However, screw them.
Yeah,
screw
I know.
Them. They're not going to feel any different about you. They're not going to take, I don't know. I mean, Mike never gets back in the game, so we don't see if it has any effect, but I can't imagine Mike coming back in the game and it taking them viewing him any differently. Like he's Zapatera. That's all that matters to them.
Sure, but you're on live TV and you can be selfish, or you can help 2 people, or you can help 6 people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think like you just help the most people you can, because you also have to think about the people that traveled all the way, like the families.
Yeah.
They traveled all the way to get there, and
even that's like, I'm not sure if I would have done that.
You're gonna make 2 people happy, or you're gonna make, or you're gonna make 4 people happy. Sorry, you're gonna make 8 people happy. I don't know. It's
a rough decision. I don't think they ever do this again, but yeah, Jeff's like, I thought there was a less than 0 chance of this happening, which means it was designed by the people who made the game, thinking that for a fact, nobody on Redemption is going to give up love to the other people, but they did it. So Rob gets his sister there. Unfortunately, it's not Amber. I think she's pregnant. Don't quote me on that, because at the reunion, she's definitely holding a small baby.
Yeah.
Which I assume is his second child. I think that they had 2 children there.
Yes.
Out of the 4 they have now. So yeah, I think she was pregnant is my guess. So she couldn't be there. His sister comes. Nobody's here to see his sister. Nobody cares about that. But he does get a t-shirt with a picture of Amber and his first child. And I think he cuts out, because it's not, he's been wearing this brown shirt the whole time. Has he not? Or did she bring the brown shirt with Amber and the child on there?
No, she brought the shirt.
The brown shirt. Okay, she did bring that. What was Rob wearing the whole season before that? I forgot. All I remember now is this brown.
Because he wore this one for the rest of the time.
Yeah, this brown
I could be
tank
wrong.
top or whatever it is.
I could be wrong.
I don't know. Anyways, he's wearing it. They go to the immunity challenge, Mary, and tell everyone about this. It's really a 5-second moment.
I mean, he's running up the stairs. It's a puzzle where you have to make the steps. The puzzle pieces are the steps, and you create this huge staircase, and you're running up and down and up and down. And of course, Rob's like struggling kind of and crawling up.
I mean, who wouldn't? This is a
final. Yeah,
challenge.
everybody's pretty much struggling except seems like Grant. And Jeff's like, Rob's literally carrying his family on his back. It's just like the dumbest comment.
I love when Jeff makes the dumbest comments, though.
It was kind of funny.
Yes, and then yeah, Rob wins this. This is his 3rd immunity win, I think, at this point. And he's like, I need help. You guys carry me down or whatever. It's like, Rob's so dramatic.
Yeah, I'm sure he was actually physically exhausted, but it did seem like he milked it just a little bit.
Yeah, he definitely milked it. It reminds me of Rob in Heroes vs. Villains, who's like, get help, Jeff. It's getting the best of me. So it's like, all right, Rob, chill out.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Phillip says, this is the episode where he says it, Mary, and I think we need to remember this. He says, I have a foolproof plan, a bulletproof plan. And I am paraphrasing. I don't think he says that exact phrase. But he basically says, I have a foolproof, bulletproof plan on how I'm going to win everybody over come Final Tribal. I'm acting like a jerk for 39 days, but at Final Tribal, I have a foolproof plan on getting everybody to vote for me and making me the winner.
Yeah, and he doesn't tell you what it is.
Doesn't tell you what it is. And frankly, we go to Final Tribal, and I still
don't know what it is.
Don't know what it is by the time Final Tribal. I'm like, what was the plan that clearly fell apart?
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, so Andrea's voted off. Sucks to be her. She totally deserves. Everyone, by the way, Nomotepe totally deserves it. It's not just Andrea. I think I'm more baffled because Andrea gets asked back. Frankly,
yeah.
Like, I don't get why. I get why Francesca's asked back. I get why Phillip's asked back. I don't get why Andrea's asked back. So, episode 13, and this is the episode, Mary. We're out of completely left field. Ashley is now like the devil to Rob. Who was Ashley before this? Natalie's like friend.
Well, as we've discussed, Rob always has to have some sort of target. So, it was Matt and Andrea because they were a couple. And then it was, everybody else on Zapatera because they had to be gotten out.
Rob needs an enemy.
Yes, Rob needs an enemy. And he needs everyone else to know that there's an enemy too. So he's not just being the bad guy. Mm-hmm. No, Ashley's the bad guy. Ashley's the one that's been a jerk.
This is just like what Russell does, except Rob does it better.
He does it better, yes. Rob is planting his seeds, even with the audience, I think. I think he does it in confessionals so that we think, oh yeah, Ashley is kind of a jerk or whatever. Yeah. And Rob looks good.
Rob is right. She is a jerk. What has Ashley done? Existed. Talked with Natalie, been friends with her, and existed.
Yeah. And sure, she talked about getting Rob out, as you should at this point. You're down to final 5 or whatever.
You need to get Rob out too with this. Because at one point he says he's talking to us about Natalie. I think it was around this time frame. He's like, we all know Natalie's not very smart or something like that. He says that, like, we all know this. Like, it's basic knowledge. And the way Rob says it makes you think Rob's right. It's not like Russell saying. Russell says, you're like, all right, you're delusional. Mm-hmm. If Russell said, we all know Natalie's an idiot, which would actually be ironic considering Natalie from their season.
Right.
But anyways, if he says that, it's like, all right, well, it's Rob. But the way Rob says it,
right.
like he says it so casually, like, come on, we all know.
Well,
You're an idiot if you don't see that Natalie's an idiot.
He kind of sprinkles it in because there's times where he's like, my girl, Natalie, I just got to take care of her and she's being influenced by Ashley. And I just don't want to see anybody, being corrupted like that. Like he hasn't influenced and manipulated every single person on his tribe.
But he doesn't create a buddy system, nothing.
Right. He just doesn't like it that Ashley's doing it.
Yes.
Now, so.
Yes. Only Rob can do what Rob, and he says that though. He says that. He's like, I don't want anybody else doing the stuff I'm doing, basically. Yes. So the season's only interesting if you're rooting for Rob. Otherwise, this is a complete snooze fest.
Right.
So it was way more fun, I think, the second time watching it. This is my second time watching it versus our first time watching it years ago. We didn't know Rob was going to steamroll.
Yeah.
So the whole time while I'm rooting for Rob, I'm also like, yeah, I hope somebody does something because otherwise this is really like a nothing. So no one will do anything. We know this. So this time is a little different watching it. Yes, Ashley is completely the devil and the devil wins immunity. So Rob, of course, is wildly upset. He says it's days like today's that make him wish he had stayed home because Ashley won immunity. Yeah. Oh, it's days like today. I wish I just stayed home instead.
Because he felt like he had to do so much work. He had to go talk to Grant and convince Grant that he was okay. He had to go talk to Ashley and convince Ashley she was okay. He had to go talk to Phillip and make sure Phillip knew what the plan was.
It's like basic Survivor strategy.
Yeah.
But the way Rob paints it, it's like to be fair though, he's doing more than just basic Survivor strategy.
No,
he's controlling people.
When you're controlling the whole game and every decision that every person makes, yes, it is a lot of work. I am sure.
Oh, it's days like today's. I wish I just stayed home. All right, Rob. So we go to the finale. Oh, Grant gets voted off. We go to the finale, and Rob says he says he knows it in his gut that Ashley is no good. What? What has Ashley done to get this kind of like just complete rip down of her as a person?
Yeah.
Mary's not finding it as funny as I just like, what? This girl has done nothing at all except for win an immunity challenge. And Rob's just like, Ashley, just at her core is an evil person. Like, what? All right. So Matt comes full circle at this point. He's finally come full circle as a person, in my opinion, because he started the season off positive. He goes to redemption. He's like, all right, you know what? God might have something for me. I might learn something. Maybe God wants me to win this season. And then by this point, though, after he's off second time, he gets to this point. He's like, maybe it's not about winning season. Maybe I learned I was just a light being here. Like I learned a lot about myself being here. And so Matt comes full circle. He learns his lesson. And it's kind of like almost like lets you know that Matt's not coming back in the game. Like they're not going to put this here unless if Matt
it's like the completion of his story.
This is the completion of his story. He's not going to. It sucks because out of all the challenges, like Matt crushed every challenge. They hadn't done any balance challenges before this one.
Yeah.
Get back in the game.
No, well, I mean, can you call the one where they're standing with their toes braced against the wall? I mean, kind of balance.
It's just more of a core strength. Endurance? I mean, this is endurance.
This is endurance too. That's the most similar challenge.
Yeah. And that one is just him versus Sarita. And Sarita's as we said earlier, she might have been taller than Matt. She was a tall lace, so she was not. She didn't have petite feet for that. I don't know if they size that to your feet. Those little footholds. I have no idea.
I think there are the
one
same.
Size fits all. Yeah. Here though, it was a balance challenge, and Mike goes out first, I think, actually, after dominating all the challenges. Matt goes out right after. Again, another person who dominated all the challenges. And it comes down to Andrea and...
You keep reading about Ralph. Ralph went out...
I forgot Ralph was even...
Ralph went out first.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember. Just no Ralph. Like Ralph was there. I keep forgetting. That's right, because he does some sick burns. Ralph is generally loved too.
Or it was Grant.
I don't know. Yeah, no, it was Grant. Ralph had gone out, I think, prior episode, Mary. Ralph was eliminated the episode prior. I just had forgotten. No, Grant is the other person here. He is with Andrea, and I feel like if Grant comes back in the game, I bet you he still falls for Rob's shenanigans. Grant, you know why we put you on redemption? So you'd eliminate them all, come back in the game. That's why I had to vote you off. That's what Rob would tell him if he'd come back in the game.
Yeah, he'd try. I don't know. I don't think Grant's not that dumb. I don't think so. I really don't.
Okay. Andrea wins redemption, and Rob says he can't see Ashley corrupting his soldiers. don't know why. I don't know why I find this so funny.
I don't know why you find it funny.
Because he gets so extreme with his descriptions of what Ashley is doing. And all Ashley is doing is being friends with Natalie and occasionally bring up the idea of what if we can't beat Rob at the end?
Yeah.
What if we vote off Rob? And like, that's it. That's all we get. And just not even like a serious discussion. It's like a passing thought almost. Mm-hmm. And Rob's like, I can't see Ashley corrupting my soldiers. I know at her core, she's just no good.
Yeah.
It's just so hard on this. Ashley wins immunity again. So the Devils won immunity again. And we all know Andrea's gone.
Yeah.
Phillip's a goat. Natalie's a goat. Andrea's gone. Phillip snitches on Ashley and Natalie talking to each other just out in the woods. And Rob's like, yeah, welcome to day 37 of Survivor. Like, hello, everyone's been doing this all season. People talk to each other out in the woods. Just how this works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rob plays his idol. He didn't even need it. Nobody seems surprised he had it, though. I guess maybe they assumed he had it.
It sounded like in the reunion show that they knew he had it, but I really don't.
It never got brought up during the show.
Yeah, it never got brought up, and you would have imagined that would have got brought up.
Because it would be, I would understand that being a factor trying to vote him off.
Well, yeah.
But nobody ever mentions that they even knew he had it. But then a reunion, they're like, we knew he had it. So like, why didn't they leave that in the show?
I felt like watching it, they just did that to save their own butts. Like, oh no, we couldn't vote him off because he had the idol. I really don't think they knew he had the idol.
Yeah. So Andrea gets voted off and Ashley's like, haha, that's what Andrea gets. She didn't make any big moves and I did, getting her out. And it's like, oh my gosh, maybe Rob was right. Maybe Ashley is no good at her core. No good at this game, that is. I'm going to have a lot of fun making Rob's story video.
Good.
Because like this whole Ashley section is just too much. Ashley does get voted off because Rob wins final immunity. Though during the final immunity, Mary, doesn't he like try to work, or he pretends to work with her?
Oh yeah, because her and him are neck and neck the whole time. They get up to the puzzle and they're like sitting there for just a minute or two and seem to be can't figure it out. And Rob's like, let's work together, right? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And Jeff's like, well, I've never seen this before at a final trial.
Final immunity.
Yeah, final immunity. You're going to work together. Okay. Obviously, they're both lying to each other. They didn't work. I've got nothing. No,
at one point, it looks like Ashley like legit had the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, she
had you and then safe or something like that. But then she didn't have the middle. And then later she got the middle, but she didn't have the top and the bottom. Yeah. I'm like, what? She had the whole thing.
Right. Well, she was only a second or two behind Rob.
Yeah.
Like she finished it right after him.
I mean, so. Rob by the seat. I don't know though. Even if Rob loses this, I think I said this to you while we were watching it. Even if he goes to the end with Ashley, I think Phillip gets voted off. I think that's the only one, because Rob is immediately going to be willing to sacrifice whoever they want to get rid of. Mm-hmm. He will go to the end of Ashley and Natalie. He'll still win.
Yeah.
I think Ashley wins immunity. Right, yeah. I think she's not going to vote off Natalie. That's okay. Rob's like, go, we vote off Phillip. I've always disliked Phillip now that I think about it. Now that I think about it, Phillip is a detriment to all of our games. We should vote him. Rob will throw Phillip under the bus in a heartbeat.
Yes.
So that's what would have happened. Phillip would not have been at Final Tribal had Ashley won here. I think Rob's still there and Rob still wins.
Probably.
Because Phillip ain't voting against Rob.
No, and neither would Natalie.
And I think Natalie would be hard pressed to vote against Rob. So Rob would get his way and Phillip would go.
Yep.
Yeah. Or he'd get rid of Natalie, but it'd be a lot harder to do that. And why would you do that? Just get rid of Phillip. It's easy.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Ashley would vote off Natalie. And
so it'd be a tie vote, and then there'd be fire making between, I assume, Phillip and Natalie. And then Phillip probably wins that. I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
Phillip's actually good at making fire. I have no idea. So that's what would have happened. Rob's still in Final Tribal no matter what, even if he doesn't win this, in my opinion. So Phillip has now, Mary, evolved. He has 3 feathers now. And at this point, I'm sure he said it all season, but at this point is when I realized that the family member he had been channeling all season was a family member who died in the year 1870, he says. And I realized, holy crap, I thought Phillip was channeling, because we haven't talked about this, but he says he's channeling his great-great-great-grandfather. For some reason, it slipped my mind. I thought he was saying like his grandfather or great-grandfather, somebody he had met.
To clarify, he's never said he was channeling this person. He said he has visions of this person coming and talking to him.
They speak to him.
And encourage him. He told him where his shorts were. He told him that he'd be safe at the vote or whatever.
When Jeff asked him, what would this person say? Phillip immediately somehow knows what this person would say in this exact situation on the show Survivor, who, by the way, died in 1870. So it blows my mind when I realize, holy crap, Phillip's been He hasn't even met this I thought he had met for some reason I thought he had met whoever he's talking about.
Yeah, you like erase the great of the grandpa.
Yeah, I just thought it was like
grandpa.
his great grandfather, and I'm like, sure, he met him when he was like 5 or something. You know, it's like something you have very fond memories of. No, the dude died well before Phillip was born. I don't know when Phillip was born. I'm gonna assume the 50s, 60s. So at least what's that? 80 years before he's born? What is going on around here? Oh man. And why that person out of everybody?
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know. Obviously he connected with him in some way as far as like his story or whatever. I don't know.
Now wearing 3 feathers to tribal.
Yes. And his great grandfather gave him the first
great
one.
Great.
So I don't know. I'm assuming he gave him the other 2. I don't know.
I do like Rob here. He says something that when I made the All-Stars video, but I want to clarify, I did not remember that Rob said this during the season because we watched it in passing before I even started this YouTube channel. That's how long it's been. So Rob says that during All-Stars, he screwed up at Final Tribal last time. He says last time he apologized to the jury and felt bad. And he says, in retrospect, I should have told them to screw off and kiss my butt. And I don't know if that would have won him the game.
Yeah.
But it certainly would have been a better look than it looked like Mary in All-Stars. He was like doing a fake, like he was fake feeling bad.
Yeah. And
therefore it was like not even respect. He can't even own up to what he did to all of us.
I think that's the better way of putting it is you need to own up to your moves.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, oh yeah, I messed up. You don't want to see
I'm so sorry.
Right. I think there's definitely a time. There's jurors who want you to apologize for stuff. There's definitely time and place for that. But I think for him specifically, he needed to own up to his game, and that's what he messed up on in All-Stars.
And I want to mention this because I feel like, keeping that in mind, Rob's been sitting on this for 7-8 years now. Maybe I think it's about 8 years now because I think this is 2011 when they're filming this. Maybe it's 2010. So 7-8 years now. And Rob has been thinking about what he would say at Final Tribal for that many years. Everyone else here has been thinking about it for maybe 39 days.
Yeah.
Maybe. Like, I don't even know if that long. So Rob has obviously a huge leg up in playing this game 3 times, having been at Final Tribal before. He knows exactly what to do. He's well studied.
Right.
But I say this because he says that. It's like, all right, Rob has learned from his mistakes. Phillip burns his underwear. And the heavens cheered. The heavens cried out. Yay.
Yeah, he acts like this was part of his plan. He's like, I knew that I could come out here and still maintain my manhood or whatever by doing this. I just needed to look dumb for everybody. Like, he doesn't say that, but he acts like it was part of his plan to look dumb.
It's his master plan.
But he burnt it because he's done with that now.
Let's blow through this Final Tribal, Mary, because it's not interesting from Natalie's perspective. Where it's really going to be Phillip and Rob are talking about here. And Rob to me, is not even interesting either because he's just giving all the right answers.
Yeah.
Rob comes in. I'm actually impressed how level-headed Rob is despite the ridiculousness coming out of Natalie and Phillip's mouths as they say their game moves where they were loyal to Rob. And like, if I was Rob, I think I would have cracked. Credit to Rob for not cracking as they're sitting there saying these things out loud. He doesn't even have like a smirk on his face or something. No, he plays it so that's what I mean. Like, Rob had been practicing for 8 years, 7 to 8 years for this moment.
Yeah.
Natalie argues this is her opening speech. She was loyal to Rob, and that's why she deserves to win. That was her whole thing.
Yep.
Why does that make you more deserving than Rob, Natalie? I know you're 19, but still. Phillip says, you know what I did? First episode, I tried getting off Rob. And then the next episode, I told Rob, I'm loyal to you.
He didn't say episode, but yes.
And he stayed loyal. And that's his argument. And this is the foolproof, bulletproof plan. This is the only time Phillip got to speak without being prompted by anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what Phillip came in prepared with, was I stayed loyal to Rob.
Yep.
Holy crap. How is that the bulletproof plan to win everybody over?
You have to know at that point, Rob's winning. When both the other competitors in their opening statements say, I got here because of Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never in all of the Final Tribal history up to this point has anyone ever sat there and said, I'm here because the other person dragged me here.
Yeah.
And that's their whole argument.
Yeah.
Like, they at least try something.
Right. Even if it's a lie, it's like you have to try
They haven't even tried or paint your game in a different light.
Yeah.
Try to paint why what you did is not the way you perceive, it's not the way they perceive it. They don't even try that. They're just like, no, it's exactly what you think.
Right.
And Andrew asked Phillip who he really is. And he says, you had 39 days to figure it out. And if you didn't figure it out, then I don't want your vote.
Well,
this is his bulletproof plan to win the game.
Yes. And I know you skipped over it, but basically Rob just said, I've been preparing for this for years. I've never won, but like I work so hard. Like, poor me.
I'm so disinterested in what Rob says because it's so perfect. I'm more interested in the nonsense. But yes, Rob is basically perfect with his answers to the best of his ability. And he plays the poor me thing.
Yeah.
Like you just said.
Yeah.
And it's like Rob, the same guy who's been on like 10 different television shows and was a huge national celebrity for a while. Oh, poor Rob.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, he tells Andrew, buzz off. You don't know who he is after 39 days. That's Philip's game plan. Ashley tells Philip, you can't comment on what I'm about to say to you. He's like, oh, I'll comment on whatever I want. Whatever I want, Ashley. And I think this is what Rob was talking about. Ashley is no good to her core.
Yeah. Apparently. Doesn't let a grown man talk.
What a devil. All right. Natalie and Philip paint themselves as, this is basically the summary. Okay. I already got that. We already said that. Philip tells Ralph, this is the only time Philip actually plays it right. Like Ralph's like, Philip, dude, you actually like me? And Philip's like, you know what, Ralph? I really like that you're a hard worker and that you're loyal or whatever. He's like, if you were on the Ometepe tribe, we would have got along.
Mm-hmm.
Philip, what? Where was this? That was the game plan. I'm not saying Philip wins, but man, does he like get more respect if he was like this to everyone?
Right.
The whole game. I mean,
no, his opening statement would have had to been, I painted myself as a crazy person so that somebody would take me to the end. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't get voted out. So people wouldn't think of me as a threat. But really, I knew blah, 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 blah.
And actually, I really like you all.
Yes,
like,
I really like you guys. And I'm so sorry for being a crazy person. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, he
Rob
would never say that.
wanted a crazy person as his ally, and I had to fill the role. I didn't have a choice.
No, you can't ever bring up Rob's name, I don't think. You have to say, this is what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know.
I don't think that wins him the game, by the way.
No.
It doesn't undo 39 days of damage.
No.
So, yeah. Philip, though, like really good with Ralph here. And Ralph throws him a vote. And I think it's in part to make sure Natalie doesn't get second place because Natalie literally has nothing. Ashley doesn't even vote for Natalie, by the way. And they were friends.
Yes. She felt really betrayed by Natalie.
Sure. But yeah, that's true. Natalie did burn Ashley. I mean, like, if Natalie couldn't get Ashley's vote, like, brother. Julie says they all didn't play a respectable game. Matt asked Rob, I don't know who you are. Where is your line at? And I'm like, there's a couple people I think say this, but
well, to be fair, Matt doesn't probably know Rob. No. He spent most of the time on Redemption Island.
Well, it's not even, forget that. Like, Rob's the same person in the show as he is in the other seasons. Rob is not like some enigma. He's not like, oh, who is Rob? Rob is so like, he's Rob. I don't know how to say it. Like, he does. He's
you think he controls people in his life on a daily basis?
I think that's what their point was, but it's like, is that going to affect whether you're going to vote for him or not? Because you still voted for him.
Yeah.
So what's the point of this question?
Well, he got the answer he wanted to hear, which is Rob saying this is just a game. Yeah. And of course, in real life, I don't do this.
Yeah. And I mean, I believe that. I think Rob's not controlling everybody and running buddy systems and whatnot in his real life. Mary's raised her eyebrows. Are you disagreeing?
I don't know.
Mary, okay. At home. He has each of his daughters, just 4 daughters. Hey, buddy system. Can't have any of you try to betray me. All right. Mike is super nice. Just general. That's all I have. Mike's just super nice. I feel like Mike had a real character growth that they didn't really focus on. Matt had a character growth in the season. I feel like Mike did it as well as a person, but they're like, where are you doing that with Matt? So we're not going to showcase Mike's as much in the show. Because Mike is like just super nice here at the end. It's like, wow.
He just asked what they all learned from the game. Yeah.
But he was kind of like that by the end. It's like Mike, I feel like really had a come to Jesus moment, for lack of a better phrase, by the end of the season.
I felt like he was nice the whole time.
Sure. But it seemed like something happened on Redemption Island. I'd have to go back and look more carefully. But I feel like they kind of didn't focus on it because it's like we can't just have 2 people in the same story.
Right. Sure.
In a show where we have limited time.
Yeah.
We got to show Philip flipping out for the 10th time instead. Steve tells Philip, you are a shameful, sorry man. And I'm actually surprised Philip didn't. Maybe he did. Because 3 times, I didn't write down every time apparently. 3 different people, Philip tells him to screw off, basically. Andrew is one. Ashley's the other. And I forget who the 3rd person is. I
would imagine it would be Steve here.
You think it was Steve here? I don't know if it was Steve. I feel like they had already had their beef. Yeah, it's possible. Philip, the 3 different people, Philip just tells to screw off. And it's like, this was his bulletproof plan. Bulletproof plan. Oh, brother. David tells the jury Rob should win. I don't think the jury needed to hear this. I don't think David made any difference.
No.
This is all back to I think David thinks he's a know-it-all, pompous know-it-all. So Rob wins 8-1. I'm so shocked. It is cool to see Amber at the reunion with their 2 daughters. I want to point out when Rob wins, he kind of does a wave to everybody, thank you, and then immediately bolts out, gets away from them. Normally winners hug the people they're around. No, go back and watch the previous winners. They all are excited and they'll hug the people who are the second, third place people, and Rob's thank you, and then bolts.
I feel like most winners, they might say hug the people next to them, but then they all run to their family.
Yeah, of course. Saying Rob doesn't even give anybody that. There's no courtesy hug. No, who wants to hug Rob though at this point, I guess?
Yeah, no.
They feel filthy voting for Rob. Filthy.
Probably.
Oh, man. So, Mary, we're going to talk about the reunion and we'll answer some listener questions real quick. But overall, the season compared to Nicaragua, we're going to rank the Dark Ages at this point. Is it better or worse than Nicaragua with Fabio?
Honestly, I think I like Nicaragua better. There's more ups and downs versus this is just Rob's show. I do like Rob. And the first time I watched it, I really liked it. And I went into it expecting to really like it again. And I didn't because it was so boring.
No.
So I'm just going to kind of rank Nicaragua above this one, I think.
I think I like Nicaragua more as well. But I think I like the season more after watching it again. Whereas the first time I remember being so disappointed. And maybe it's because I remember being so disappointed, it actually couldn't be worse, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's not a season I'd recommend to anybody who's not a Boston Rob fan, though.
Yeah.
If you didn't like Rob the other seasons, this is a skip. So let's talk about the reunion real quick, because there's a couple interesting tidbits.
Okay.
Grant and Rob are no longer friends. As we mentioned earlier, they're after episode 3, Rob said he stops texting him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Grant probably wasn't ready for you to call him a jerk or an idiot.
Yeah.
The whole season either. Russell congratulates Rob. They shake hands. Phillip says, I went full villain strategically this season.
Mm-hmm. No, he didn't. That was all emotions.
Yeah, like Russell, it was all emotions. Exactly. You could pretend it was something else, but it was all emotions. But the most interesting part, the part that I showed Mary and she still didn't care, is when David proposes to Carolina the first boot of Token Chains. And immediately, it takes Jeff has to drag it out David, by the way.
Yeah, it was almost like he didn't want to do it.
No, David. So in post game, Jeff, or I forgot who said, is David post game or Jeff post game? One of them said no, it was all planned. It was planned out. That's why Carolina's sitting behind Amber.
Yeah, I understand it was planned out. But it was really awkward when it was clearly Jeff was giving him the lead and how's the relationship going?
David, you told me you want to do this.
How is it really going? Oh, it's really going good.
Something you want to make official?
Something you want to Jeff has to be so you want to go ask her to marry you right now?
Without
basically.
saying that exactly. Yeah.
Because David kept stalling. I'm that's
what
weird.
Is David doing? Yeah.
The whole thing was just awkward.
He goes down there. Amber's right in between the two of them in the shot. They set it up so perfectly. They knew what they were doing. And he goes down there and Carolina immediately is shut this down right now. Shut it down right now. David proposes and she's like, Survivor loves blindsiding me. That's her response to being asked, will you marry me?
Yeah.
Is Survivor loves blindsiding me.
Mm-hmm.
Then she says, of course, yes. Because what else are you going to say on national television? Yeah. Could you imagine if she said no? That would have been amazing. That would have been hilarious. Yes. That would have been amazing.
That would have been more funny than what you showed me.
I think it was funny because it's so cringy. It's like the rest of the season. It's so there's just so many times you're just cringing from,
Yeah. I say what you show me because we usually don't really watch the reunion, but you're oh no, you have to see this.
I may have hyped it up too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If I didn't hype it up at all, you'd be what just happened? So
I guess so. Yeah. Who is this person? I don't
Carolina's first move to Token. He proposes to her. She says yes. And then even after she says yes, she's Survivor loves blindsiding. It's the all she can say on national television. Mad about it. She is so upset about this. She's why? That's why they had me sit behind Amber. And Amber's there watching the whole thing, reminiscent of when she got proposed to, except she wanted it.
Yeah.
And it worked out, of course. So spoilers, it's been 13 years, 12 years. David cheats on Carolina with Alicia from One World, who plays 2 seasons after this. And yeah, him and Carolina break up. So that's your happy ending to this.
Yay.
That's why I find it funny. If they actually worked out, I'd be that was kind of weird. But no, because it doesn't work out because David blows it. I don't know. I find it funny.
Good.
Well, that's my sense of humor for you. All right, you guys answer people's questions.
I'm ready.
Okay, on Patreon, which by the way has a free tier now. Links in the description on YouTube. We asked for your all's questions, and this is open to all patrons, including the free tier. So, all right, first question, Mary, from Last Day on Earth Mystery Man. Does Boston Rob's victory, is it really that great considering he really had like no competition? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's still good because nobody else did it. I mean, he had a tribe that was really easy to manipulate. So it was the ideal situation for him. But at the same time, like if you put, I'm trying to think of another older season winner. Mm-hmm. You could put other people in that situation and they wouldn't have won.
I mean, look at Russell.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
not that he won, but
he did play a really great game. Was it boring to watch? Kind of. Yeah. Sure. Did he have an excellent cast to work with? Yes. But you can't fault him. Like he really did the best of his ability, and I think he still played a great game. We're
at the end of the podcast. I think we can say it. I mean, it's not a spoiler. I just was trying to avoid talking about future seasons as much as possible. Ozzy and Coach are asked back next season. Those two are characters. Yes. And I think they're a lot more interesting to watch next season because they're such characters, and they're not gonna. It's not like Rob. Rob, while he is a character, he's really good at the game. Coach and Ozzy are not really good at the game of Survivor. They're good at certain aspects of things, but they're not. So I think it's more interesting having characters come back than it is in a season like this than it is to have just strategic forces.
Yeah, because it almost isn't fair to the other people because he is so good at this game.
Yeah.
Like he just, I see what you're saying as far as like, but you can't take anything away just because he's so good.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to make the season better, they would have needed two characters, not two strategic forces.
No, I was just going back to the original question.
Oh, all right. Gotcha. And I think Philippines a few seasons later does it best when they bring back 3 medically evacuated players who are all characters. So, but yes, I think his win is impressive, but it would have been more impressive had he actually pulled off an All-Stars.
Sure.
Like if he had actually gotten the win in All-Stars, I think we'd all be more impressed because that was a cast of at the time some of the best. So, all right, next question is from Eric. He says, "Is Francesca the best first boot to ever play Survivor?" I mean, let's say at least through the first 22 seasons.
Well, to be fair, I did remember her more distinctly than other people. So yeah. Yes. Yeah. Usually first boots are people you don't really care about. So
Max asks, "Can I make an Andrea story video?" To answer that question, we will be voting. If you're listening to this on YouTube, it's probably too late. Voting happens earlier than when we release the stuff on YouTube. But we always vote every season on who gets story videos on Patreon, which is free to sign up for. All right, next question is from Giovanni. How does Richard Hatch do if he's on the season instead of Boston Rob? Because that was originally the plan. Rumors, if the rumors are to be true. Yeah. Richard Hatch. Now, Mary is only familiar with his All-Stars game. She has yet to watch Borneo. I know. Heathen, burner at the stake. I think Richard Hatch, instead of Boston Rob, would not have run this game. And he would be just as pompous as Russell. And he probably doesn't make it. I mean, I think he makes the merge with this tribe. I don't know.
Well, this tribe...
This tribe
were a bunch of sheep. So
except for Francesca and Christina.
Right. So if Francesca and Christina could have connected with someone better, which still wouldn't have because I don't see them really connected with Richard. Maybe they would have connected with Richard. But anyways, if they could have gotten in the majority, they would have seen him as a threat and gotten him out earlier. But I don't know if that would happen. I don't know.
I think Richard Hatch runs the table though, like Rob does.
He may not have run the table, but I think he could have still probably controlled people.
The season would have been
not as well. Yeah.
Still not planned to have any duels between these two main characters though. So I don't know. The season seemed like they were almost last minute additions. Ryan asked if Stephanie Valencia, who was Russell's right hand woman with the dark hair, was on Ometepe instead of Zapatera, how do you think she would have done? Because this person believes that Ometepe may have been a better fit for her. Because she was so ready to fall in line with Russell, which kind of fits what Ometepe did with Rob.
Yeah. I think she'd just been another one of the sheep, honestly. I don't see her really doing anything. So sure, she could have made it farther, but I don't see her game being any different.
Would she have replaced like Natalie or Phillip come the end? Like who would she have?
No.
If she flips to Ometepe, she's like trade out with Andrea. I mean, I don't know.
No, you can't pass up Natalie and Phillip as being the best goats.
5RG2 asked if Matt and Andrea flipped at the merge, actually did what they wanted to, or proposed, and gave Zapatera the numbers. How do y'all think the game would have played out round by round? We're not going to really do round by round, but let's do a prediction, Mary.
Okay.
Because I don't want to go round by round. It's a lot of talking. We're over 2 hours already, believe it or not, about this amazing season. Everybody loves Redemption Island. Who from Zapatera do we think is the final three? Because I don't think they let Matt or Andrea sniff the final three. So at this point we have Ralph, David, Steve, Julie, and Mike. Out of those 5, who do we think the final 3 are? We're just guessing. It's not that serious. I want to say Ralph makes it for sure. I feel like Ralph is liked by everybody.
Ralph, Steve, and Julie. I'd
buy. Even Mike, but I feel like Mike would get off for being a big threat if it comes down to these 5. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, and then David as well for being a puzzle threat. Ralph, Steve, and Julie, who wins?
Steve. I don't know. Steve or Julie. I don't think Ralph wins.
Yeah, I don't think Ralph pulls it off. I want to say Ralph. I really like Ralph, actually. I remember thinking he was kind of, as he said, a dumbass, but
I really like him too. Ralph. But he never was able to talk to people in a way that made them he just wasn't good socially. And I could see a Final Tribal him doing something similar to Phillip and being like, well, that was my game. Take it or leave it. I don't know if he would have poked the jury, but like that, but maybe not to the extreme Phillip did. I'm just saying he wouldn't have been eloquent. Steve would have been most eloquent. Julie would have been more eloquent. Yes. Yeah. I don't know. We would have seen how the rest of the season played out. So 5RG2 also asks, if you had to pick 4 people from the season return for a second chance, who would you pick and why? 4 people. Let's just pick one person because I can't honestly pick 4 people. And somebody who doesn't already come back. Who from the season would we actually want to see come back? You pick 2 and I'll pick 2. I was just gonna pick 1. Okay. I think actually, if I had to pick, I think Ralph a second time would be fun. Okay, I will pick 2. Ralph a second time would have been fun. I don't think Ralph changes all that much. And Stephanie. Okay. I'm trying to think who would be interesting as a character if they returned. Who do you, any I was going to say Julie and Matt. I don't think Julie. Oh, Matt, of course. Yeah. I just think Matt has such a perfect story here. I'm not sure. I feel like it would get tarnished if he came back, frankly. Yeah. I mean, Julie though, really. I like Julie a lot. Okay. I will not take that from you. All right. Garcia asks, why is Survivor Redemption such a bad season? I think it's because it's the steamroll. Yeah. Yeah, basically. Caleb asked, when Ralph was voting off Russell the night he got voted off, did he actually mean to spell his name wrong to wrestle? I think Ralph misspells everybody's names on purpose. On purpose? He misspelled Phillip as Phile. I mean, that is on purpose. No, I really think he doesn't know how to spell at all. No, I think Ralph plays this role of he wants to be perceived this way. You think he can't spell Russell, he put wrestle? Why would you do that I don't know. I just think Ralph's, I think he's just goofy. I think it's just his personality, but maybe unfortunately we can't ask him because he did pass away recently, actually. Yeah, you told me that. Past couple of years. I forget from what, without double checking real quick, but he did pass away of, I believe, of a sickness. So, all right, next question is from Billy. Did production give this season to Rob, or do you think he won with luck? I mean, they didn't give it to him, but there was definitely luck as well as a lot of hard work. That buff draw was so lucky, though. Yes. Because of Zapatera, it's a different story. I don't know if it would be that much different, honestly. I don't think there were a bunch of sheep following Rob. I think there was more independent thinkers over there. That's true. There were more independent thinkers. There's a few sheep, but it would not have been the same. They did let Rob pick first. Yeah, I mean, but it was a bag. It wasn't like a tube that only one could have been on top of the other one. So Laura asks, what do you think was the worst move by the players voting out Russ? Okay. Do you think the worst move was the players voting off Russell or not voting off Boston Rob? Which one was worse? They're both pretty equal to me. I mean, obviously, probably not voting off Rob is worse because that was the game, the whole game. But they're both pretty bad. Ella asks, what is the reason they bring Andrea back for another season? What do we see this season that Andrea is even asked back? Do you see anything, Mary? I think part of it is that, is she going to learn from this? Because she did kind of try at the end to get Rob out. You know, she's the sweet little girl who's hardworking. She had a crush on a boy. They got separated. I mean, she has something of a story, and she's pretty, and she played the game. I don't know.
And they do have a casting archetype, as we've determined. They even had it for All Stars. That's why Amber got us back. They do want, at the time that they were doing this, they wanted young, attractive women on the show, and they couldn't do a returnee season without them. And I think they have one with Brenda. Corinne does not qualify for that. She is very mean, and that doesn't fall under the. So Brenda's like their only attractive girl they asked back. I'm trying to remember the whole cast. So I think Andrea fits the other cute girl. I mean, because frankly, I don't see anything. I know she has a little story, but like that's a reason enough to ask her back. I feel like there's much better options.
Yeah.
So anyway, especially when they dip back all the way to season 16, it's like, why didn't Natalie Bolton come back? At least she did things. Mary's like, who is Natalie Bolton? Natalie Bolton is the one that they got to get to trick Eric, Mary. Okay. Mary's memory is like, we talk about the season and it immediately goes out the window.
Yeah. I don't retain all this information.
Don't ask her 1 week from now anything about this season. All right. So Thomas asks, what do you think happens if Russell and Rob swap tribes? I think they both make the merge. I think Russell makes the merge with Ometepe. And I think Rob makes the merge regardless. But I don't know if that. I think Rob has a hard time winning if he's on Zapatera.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right because that tribe was stronger in winning challenges, and Rob would have just helped even more. So he would have had less opportunity to vote him out.
Could Russell have gotten Ometepe to follow his lead? That's the question. I don't know.
Because they were a bunch of sheep.
Because Rob was friends. He acted as friends with them, and Russell doesn't act like friends with people.
Yeah, true.
So, last question is from Katie. She says, I was watching the season at the time, but was pretty young. Was there anyone, the audience, or you, if you were watching, wanted to win besides... So who do we want to win, Mary, besides Boston Rob this season? Who were you rooting for?
Matt.
Yeah, same. And that shows in the fan vote. Matt. I wanted Matt to win. So,
yeah.
Straight up. All right, well, next time we'll podcast. Next season we podcast for this series. For this retrospective series, we go through all the seasons. Of course, the South Pacific, they're going to do the same twist. Everyone will have seen all of Redemption Island. They'll know exactly how this twist works. There will be no secrets, and I think they all play according to plan. And they'll have Coach and Ozzy back, a very random pair in comparison to Rob and Russell. But
yeah, true.
We'll have a lot to talk about that time. All right, well, we thank you all listening, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.